Fine.
What are the long persistent? Connor and I both had it for the last couple of months.
She's had fever, like low-grade fever on and off for like 5 months. And just really bad fatigue and all that stuff.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had like 101 for like 2 weeks straight, and it was scary, but then it broke after 2 weeks.
Nah, she's had it for a while, yeah.
I didn't
Really?
even know that existed.
We're live?
Yep.
Hold on. Hey there, folks. Jordan Sheridan here at Amazon's Fortress in Staten Island. If you see behind me, this is like Dr. Evil headquarters over here. I've never been here before, but it goes down an entire block, Amazon, here in Staten Island. And for those of you that might not remember, Staten Island is kind of, I guess, the first warehouse in America that got a lot of attention during coronavirus because a whistleblower, he's actually here, Christian Smalls, he worked with Amazon. He got fired from Amazon, and he worked at this Staten Island location, and he basically got fired for the crime of speaking out against Amazon for their non-existent safety restrictions and protocols during COVID. Christian, I'm sure this is a rally that's about to happen here, a solidarity rally, basically with ex-Amazon workers, union activists, all that, and they're going to be basically rallying in solidarity and support for the folks way, way down south in Bessemer, Alabama. Today, actually, they're going to start counting the votes in Bessemer, Alabama, for the Alabama workers who are trying to unionize, the Amazon Alabama workers who are trying to unionize. It's been this kind of long process because of coronavirus. Usually a union vote would be relatively quick and in person. But because of coronavirus, the Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama warehouse, it's been about a month and a half, 2 month vote by mail, whether for the Alabama workers to unionize. So John has covered other rallies in New York City with workers rallying in solidarity. And, you know, there's a lot of media coverage. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but there is some media coverage of this that says if these Amazon workers in Alabama are successful and the union goes through, that it could really spread like wildfire at other Amazons around the country, but other workplaces around the country, not just Amazon. So we'll see. We will see what happens. I'm a little cynical. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I am a little cynical because Amazon is one of the most preeminent union busters known to man. They have been spreading misinformation and disinformation and outright lies about what unionizing would mean for the workers in Alabama. So, and all these votes down in Alabama could be contested, meaning if Amazon wants to, it could contest every single vote. Think about like the year 2000, if you're old enough, and that nightmare, Gore versus Bush, how literally election lawyers were sitting there like objecting to every single ballot that might go to a Democrat or might have went to Gore or might have went to Bush. It could be similar. So at this rally / press conference is going to start soon. Please share this live stream. Please smash the like button. More people that press the like button, the more people that will see this. Frankly, I mean, this is the first time I've been out in a while because of coronavirus, but let me tell you, YouTube has not been making it easy for us to get seen. YouTube has basically been burying our live streams. So definitely, if you can, share this live stream, smash the like button, leave a super chat if you can, because it costs money. I got to pay John behind the camera. We got a lot of bills to pay. So please support us. But I want to also mention, and let me just make sure the text is going out and all that. Yeah, so I want to also mention that Christina Brown is going to be speaking. If you don't know who that is, basically in January I broke a story about Pashawn Brown, and Pashawn Brown was an Amazon worker. She was 38 years old, and she just dropped dead one day in January of this year. And basically, she was literally testing her coworkers for COVID. She wasn't a doctor, she wasn't a nurse, nothing. She was, along with other workers, testing other Amazon workers with those COVID nasal swabs because, Amazon's so poor, they couldn't actually hire real doctors and nurses to do it. So, let's get a little closer. So we're going to head over because I think they might be starting, so I'll get back to that in a couple minutes. So here they have a tax Bezos sign. So that is Christian Smalls, who was an Amazon worker who was fired about a year ago for trying to organize and speak out against the unsafe conditions during coronavirus at this Staten Island warehouse. And actually, New York Attorney General Letitia James sued Amazon, and one of the cornerstones of her lawsuit against Amazon was Christian Smalls and their illegal retaliation against Christian. So Christian's been around the country with other activists from the Congress of Essential Workers. They've been to Seattle, they've been to Alabama, supporting Amazon workers, demanding that Jeff Bezos actually pay taxes, which, shocker, is not really happening. So you're going to hear a lot from Christian and other workers here. Again, why this is important is because today is the first day that they're counting those votes down in Alabama, which, again, if this union is successful, it really would be one of the biggest victories for labor this century. I mean, labor has been destroyed in this country dating back to the 1970s. The Republican Party and Reagan mixed with the Democrats, basically helping them go after organized labor. Even the labor unions that are technically strong are largely futile and in many cases corrupt. I have seen that around the country. So if this union, you might think like, oh, it's Alabama, who cares? But if this union is successful, it can spread like wildfire, because that is, if you could defeat Amazon, even in one battle, because this would be a defeat for Amazon, then there's inspiration and people get more drive to try to unionize elsewhere. And by the way, we're not down there, but it is super, super shady what's going on down there in Bessemer, Alabama. You literally have the police in the police in Bessemer, essentially surveilling and watching these workers who are trying to unionize in behest of Amazon. It kind of reminds me of Standing Rock a little bit, where you had the police, I call them the oil police, essentially standing there working for the fossil fuel company instead of protecting the people. That's kind of what's going on in Alabama right now, because the police have been shown to be targeting these warehouse workers, trying to monitor where they're going, how big the groups are, that kind of thing. And obviously they're doing that because they're trying to stop this union vote from going through. There's been signs inside the warehouse, vote no against the union, and other dirty tricks Amazon has been playing. And by the way, just so you know, I'm not per se blaming this on President Obama, but there is an Obama connection here. Obama's former press secretary, Jay Carney, is like the big fat cat vice president of lobbying and communications for Amazon. So there's a lot of former Obama people, from his press secretary to other aides, that are now pretty big executives at Amazon that are all part of this. So how's that for hope and change? And just so you know, like, if this union went through, it's not even like, this is necessarily going to lift these workers out of poverty. Amazon has been, boasting, well, we pay $15 a minimum wage. Well, the $15 minimum wage is far, far, far behind what it should be. And that's how we're kind of living in a perpetual race to the bottom in this country, where kind of the right-wing to compromise position is spun as a gift from God. Most people can't even live easily off $15 minimum wage, and we're not even there yet. And by the way, if it passed today, it wouldn't be implemented for 5 years. So Amazon is trying to say, well, ignore the fact that our workers are pissing in water bottles because they're not allowed to go to the bathroom. Ignore the fact that they're shitting, excuse my French, in bags because they can't go to the bathroom or they'll be docked pay. Ignore the fact that literally workers are getting sick on the job, but working because they're not getting that paid sick leave. I mean, I'll talk to Christina when she gets here, but literally I spoke with Christina Brown, the sister of Pashawn Brown, who was that 38-year-old worker who died suddenly in January after testing coworkers for COVID, and she told me she got it in an accident. She got in an accident in the winter. She slipped on black ice. She was driving for Amazon for those Amazon Prime deliveries. What was the first thing her supervisor said on the phone? Not, "Are you okay? Is the car okay?" And then after she said the car's okay, not, "Are you okay? Can you finish your deliveries?" So this isn't like one bad apple. That's a culture. That's a culture of workers as numbers on a balance sheet. That's a culture of efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. To hell with the health of those workers. I don't care if they got to die. We got to get those Amazon Prime deliveries out in 4 hours. So I'm sure we'll hear quite a lot of stories like that today. Let me hold on. Okay, so this thing's supposed to start in a few minutes. Let me see where we're at here. Oh, all right. Smash that like button. We got 160 people watching. Super chats, always welcome. Appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Kevin Howard, thank you, Status Coup. Journalism is not dead. Well, they're trying to kill journalism, let me tell you. And by the way, can I just say something before this rally/press conference starts? It is goddamn unseemly. And yes, I've demonetized us already, so please, super chats. It is really unseemly watching CNBC, and I watch it so you don't have to. CNBC, MSNBC, New York Times, the Bezos Post, the Washington Post. Watch it. It is an alternate reality. I was watching a CNBC segment yesterday, and they're like, Amazon's being targeted. Oh, victim Amazon, they're being targeted. And oh, Amazon, in the grand scheme of things, does such great things, $15 minimum wage. Oh, they give their workers health care. How wonderful. Okay, well, if you're getting paid $15 minimum wage, but you're getting sick while doing your job, doesn't that kind of cancel one another out? If you're literally being surveilled at work, if you're literally being tracked like you have a GPS on you, so that if you are a minute off time, because you got to be on time and be on schedule for that efficiency that the American people love, if you literally, as Bernie Sanders said, he just went down to Alabama, if you're literally being docked at hours pay if you're 1 minute late, well, what's $15 minimum wage going to do if you're essentially cutting 5 to 10 years off your life? One Amazon worker in Alabama said literally, it's basically like 1 hour of work at Amazon feels like a 10-hour workday. And you'll hear from workers here not being able to go to the bathroom. If they go to the bathroom, getting talked to by supervisors. I know for a fact the story of Pashawn Brown, the 38-year-old who worked and died suddenly when workers in that Virginia warehouse started talking about it at work. When they started saying, "Hey, Amazon, are you going to try and help this family?" If you don't know the story, Pashawn Brown was 38. She worked at Amazon since 2018. She didn't have any major health problems. And all of a sudden, she drops dead in January. We don't know if she had COVID, but what we do know, she was literally having to test workers. She was being tasked with administering COVID nasal swabs to her coworkers. Not a doctor, not a nurse, none of that. When I went to Amazon and asked some kind of basic questions as a journalist, why do you have working class people administering COVID nasal swabs on their coworkers? Do you train them? Why, were you testing her and other workers who were administering these nasal swabs daily? They refused to talk to me on the record. They asked to talk to me off the record. And by the way, when corporations want to talk to you off the record, that means they got nothing good to say on the record. That means they're going to lie to you. That means they don't want to say anything on the record because that would risk legal liability. That's what that means. So I basically told them kindly to piss off. I'm not going to talk to you off the record, answer my questions, and they wouldn't. But they were smart to do that because they relied on the fact that the national media was not going to pick up the story, which it didn't. The national media did not pick up the story. And unfortunately, this family, and I'm going to talk to her sister today, this family is like most of America. They don't have $9 grand to pay for an autopsy. A lot of people think an autopsy just automatically happens. Only if there's suspected foul play. If there's not suspected foul play, you have to pay for an autopsy. So her family did not have money to pay for an autopsy, and we don't know what she died of. So to be clear, I don't know if she had COVID, but what I do know is she was a healthy woman. Amazon had her playing doctor and nurse, testing other workers. I have other workers at Amazon that confirm that she was testing other coworkers, even though Amazon pretended she wasn't. And the question is, how does Amazon, it's praised, the most efficient company, $1.5 trillion company. Well, how do they get so efficient? How do they get to that 1.5 trillion mark? It's by literally killing their workers. I'm not being dramatic. They're killing their workers. And by the way, President Biden here, who the media is trying to slobber all over and, paint him as the new FDR for his Band-Aid for a gunshot wound at 1.9 trillion. I don't want to say all bad. There's some good things in there, but most of it's just temporary, right? Most of it is temporary relief that will go away. There is no permanent eviction protection, no permanent foreclosure protections, no permanent anything, really. So basically, he gave a very tepid endorsement of the Amazon workers trying to unionize. He didn't go down there. Bernie went down there. So Biden, it's kind of a wink and a nod, like, yeah, let the Amazon workers try to unionize, but I'm not going to do much more. So there is no progressive surge other than Bernie, who's pushing 80. He might be 80 now. Reverend William Barber of the Poor People's Campaign. There's not really any leadership on this. And make no mistake, if this union passes in Bessemer, I don't want to be so dramatic that it's going to totally, untaint the rot that is the United Corporations of America. But it will be a huge victory, probably the biggest victory for organized labor since the 1980s, to be honest with you. It would be that big. And Amazon would be, if you think Amazon is heinous now, you wait to see what happens if this union vote passes. But I also want to give you an honest preview, because if you think there's not going to be any funny business down there, if you think Amazon's just going to let it be a free and fair vote count, I really hope that this union, all right, here we go. They're starting. Smash that like button, share this live stream so more people can hear this and more people can see this. Super chats are welcome. So that's Christian Smalls right there. That is, there's some union activists with him. And I assume folks will be identifying who they are and all that. And this is kind of what the union movement has descended onto, standing on curbs for makeshift rallies. But that's okay if you win. So again, right now we're across from the Staten Island warehouse. There's like one or two. Yeah, there's a couple security guards, but so far they haven't really messed. So, yeah, this will be kind of a little makeshift curb press conference / rally. I'm happy to see that there are some press. It doesn't look like any press necessarily from the local outlets. It's more like documentary crews and things like that. That's always the amazing thing. And John, you know this. You go to cover these things, and there's usually no like national media, not even like Eyewitness News, ABC, local NBC. It's just documentary crews. A lot of times there's foreign crews covering American news.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I see it all the time. And if they ever want the footage, they usually come to us.
It's unbelievable. So, all right, this thing looks like it's starting soon. So keep sharing this live stream. Smash the like button if you can. We'll do some interviews after people speak. Here we go. I guess that's the anti-Amazon dog down there. So we got 240 people watching, but only 116 of you have pressed the like button. So I need 100 more people to press that like button. Whether you like me or not is irrelevant. Just smash that like button so we can get this out to more people. As far as I can see, CNN is not here. MSNBC is not here. I do not believe the Young Turks are here. Shocker. I don't believe Washington Post is here. So if you value independent journalism, please let us know kindly in the super chat. Whoa, thanks for the super chat. Nas, $50. Bezos is going crazy. Thank you so much, Nas. And by the way, that's a good point, Nas, because Bezos, I put the headline yesterday, he's losing his fucking mind over this. If you noticed over the weekend, Amazon's like Twitter account was like it was like a 16-year-old teenager trolling, and apparently they were doing that because Bezos like went to his executives being like, "You're not pushing back hard enough," because that's what psychopaths and thin-skinned Dr. Evils do. They don't like to be called out on their inhumane treatment of human beings. That's why he does all this faux philanthropy, because the media picks up the faux philanthropy. Bezos has done some stuff for affordable housing in Seattle and like some preschools for underprivileged kids, and the media picks that up, and they completely ignore the fact that his workers have to shit in bags and pee in water bottles. So, anyway, thank you for the super chat, Nas. Keep on pressing the share button. By the way, if you like this reporting, if you like this coverage, you could be a Status Coup member too. Sign up for $5 a month. Okay. So they just said they're waiting on a few people, but actually this is a pretty solid crowd, I will say. This is a pretty solid crowd. So
show up, we'll get started. Feel free to grab some signs. We have plenty of signs over here. We'd like to grab a sign of solidarity.
And you can see signs here, unionize now. Victory to Bessemer, Alabama. Amazon unionization drive. So this is actually one of the better organized rallies I've seen. So a lot of cool union signs. Can I see your sign there? Unionize now, safe working conditions. Thank you. Thank you, media. Yeah. You got break with the Democrats and Republicans, build a workers' party, internationalist club. You got Bezos billions stolen. Stolen from workers. I was going to come out at like 11. Just sitting up there. The guy knocked. He's like, "Yeah." Let me see if I can get out. 25, 30 people out there. I'm like, "Ah, shit." I'm like, "They're early." We'll come. Can I talk to you?
Sure.
And your dog? So this is Christian Smalls. He was thrown out of this building about a year ago. Claim to fame.
Hey, what's up, brother?
So, Christian, for the audience, I want them to also know, because I don't think they realize how big this has gotten. Yeah. The New York Attorney General filed a lawsuit against Amazon, and a big part of it is because you were fired wrongly from Amazon. Can you kind of give the audience kind of a brief overview? What is the New York Attorney General suing Amazon for, and what has she said about their firing of you?
Right, absolutely. So, thank you to Letitia James for actually following through on that, because after I was fired, she was one of the first to come out and say, "I'm going to, file an investigation against the company," and she rightfully so. She did that.
I've been working with the company, working with the AG's office ever since. And now we come into fruition, the lawsuit, which entitles for my reinstatement, some damages that should be owed to me from all the wages I lost. I lost my health insurance as well. And not just myself, for several others that were retaliated on. Derek Palmer's another worker from here, and several other facilities as well. Queens is involved in this lawsuit. So she's trying to go and basically fight for all of us, for all the ones that have been retaliated against throughout the course of the pandemic. This lawsuit is, right now, Amazon is pushing back. They're trying to get it pushed to the federal court, which is a Brooklyn judge, Eastern District judge, who already dismissed one of our cases last year. So that's the name of the game they're trying to go without pushing it out and trying to get it dismissed right now.
I want to ask, because as this Alabama union effort has kind of gone national, there's been more attention on, like The Intercept just broke that, the company knows workers are pooping in bags and peeing in water bottles and all this. Can you kind of talk about, before you were fired, what were the conditions like here as far as workers being watched, every second counted, intimidation? Kind of give people a little window into what it's like working for this company that, frankly, the media keeps painting as like incredible and they're so efficient and yada, yada, yada. But what's it really like working for Amazon?
Well, you see, these buildings are massive. These is 1 million square feet, 14 NFL football fields. I used to walk the state of Rhode Island, and people think that's a joke. It's not. 30 to 60 miles a day is easy to do in there, especially when you're just doing laps in these massive buildings and you're on your feet for 10, 11, 12 hours a day. And that is literally the state of Rhode Island. And that's when I used to tell my new hires, when you got hired, if you got a gym membership, you might want to cancel it, because you're going to be physically drained at the end of this shift, and you got to mentally prepare yourself as well. So, you can imagine the scrutiny on top of that, being monitored every second. Let me reiterate that, seconds. It's not minutes that your time off task starts. They track you down to the second. I have to train people to pick items, meaning to pick customers' items in less than 7 seconds. So an average day, one associate, which I did as well, you would have to touch 4,000 to 5,000 items in one day. So imagine how physically draining that is, and how much physically that takes a toll on your body working at Amazon.
It's interesting you said that, because I saw CNBC and all these other channels that are slobbering over Amazon. They're saying, oh, well, they pay their workers $15 minimum wage, they give them health care, they're so efficient. But I don't think a lot of Americans realize that efficiency, the fact that you get that package in like 4 hours, is because they're killing their workers to do it. I mean, that's really what's going on here. Right. I mean, literally, we're going to talk later to one woman who lost her sister. They're literally killing their workers, but this is not told. It doesn't necessarily mean people are dropping like flies, but cumulatively, I mean, one Alabama worker said working an hour there is like 10 hours anywhere else. Can you kind of talk about the COVID aspect? That pressure to perform and get things out quickly, if it was already at a 9 out of 10, it went to a 15 out of 10 because of COVID.
Right, it was life or death. That's exactly why we was out here exactly 1 year ago about the fact that there was several of us advocating for the entire week off the clock on our own free will, trying to get the building closed down when COVID-19 came into play. New York City was the epicenter, and we were unmasked. We didn't have any masks on last year. Last year when I did an interview, I had this scarf on that's on my head now. They didn't give us anything. And workers had underlying health conditions. They have family at home. They have kids at home, children, senior citizens. That's what we were trying to protect. And they failed to do that. They dropped the ball. And as a result, we had to continue to push forward with a walkout that led to my firing. But I think after that moment, Amazon had to address all these issues. And they still didn't do a great job at it, because obviously they've been lying to the media and still putting their workers at risk, allowing workers to even test other workers that are not medically trained. That right there is criminal to me. That's wrongful death, and they need to be held accountable. So I'm happy to once again lift the stories of these workers' voices that don't be heard.
And I want to ask you about that too, because a lot of people don't. I mean, corporations have massive PR armies, but Amazon's PR army is kind of different, I would say. I mean, just in my case, I reached out to them. You referenced Pashan Brown just dropped dead. She was 38. She didn't have any massive health problems, but Amazon had her playing doctor and administering COVID nasal swabs on her coworkers. When I reached out to Amazon, they wanted to talk off the record. They wanted to sweep it under the rug, and I said, no. I'm not CNBC.
Right.
Yes or no, was she doing COVID testing? They wouldn't answer. Yes or no, are other workers doing COVID testing? Right. I mean, this is a scandal.
Right.
It's a scandal.
Absolutely.
And they won't answer, and they rely on the national media to not cover it. But can you kind of talk about, from Pashan to others, I mean, it's like a flood of workers that have reached out to you talking about their horror stories during COVID.
Yes, and she was, fortunately one of the workers reached out to me because I didn't hear about it either. We would have never heard about it. We didn't never heard about it had I hadn't took the initiative to find out what's really going on, and then actually reaching out to you, the real media that covers these type of stories that major media don't. So that's what we have to do. Otherwise, who else is going to do it for them? Nobody. When we met her, she had a couple $100 in her GoFundMe. Now, today, she has over 45,000, thanks to the efforts of what you did and what other people have done as well. And that's what it's about, community taking care of community, and us, the working class people, taking care of one another and holding these companies accountable. We're not done with her story as well. That's exactly why she's here today, joining us on the ground. And I'm hoping that the media that's here today uplifts that story even more and continue to talk about it so we can get it out there to the public and let the public know what's really going on behind the scenes.
I'll let you go. We'll talk in a bit. Thanks, man. So that was Christian Smalls. We are going to talk to Christina. Is Christina here yet? Okay, cool. So I'm going to wait till I'm going to wait probably. Yeah, so I don't want to rush that interview, so I might do it after they speak. But yeah, it's really, can you imagine for a second why this isn't a front page national fucking scandal? An Amazon worker, 38 years old, drops dead out of nowhere. She comes home, says to her sister, I have a headache. The next morning, she gets her kid ready for school. She goes back down to sleep because her head still hurts, and she falls asleep. Devil's advocate, you could say, Jordan, you don't know what happened. She could have had a stroke. She could have had this. You're absolutely right. I don't know what happened. Her family asked Amazon to help them with an autopsy. Amazon would not answer. So I don't know what happened. What I do know what happened is they had her literally administering COVID nasal swabs on coworkers for months. They were not giving her proper N95 masks. They were not giving her surgical gowns. They were not giving her goggles. And I saw video of this area of this Virginia warehouse where they were doing these tests. There was not even barriers. So basically, Pashan was essentially next to potentially COVID positive people all day, every day. For what? Amazon couldn't have hired doctors to do it? By the way, the CDC recommends that it be done outside, that COVID testing be done outside in a large space. They were literally doing it next to the break room. This is what happens for that efficiency that the media showers Amazon with. That's how you get the efficiency, by basically discarding basic worker protections. It's truly, truly disgusting. Truly, truly disgusting. So you got a pretty decent crowd here. Safe workers, all that stuff. I don't want to. Let me just say hello. Yeah, I think they're about to start. So I don't really want to start the interview with Christina because if I got 3 minutes, it's not worth it. I'll do it right after. But if you came to this late, I just want to kind of remind you, this is happening today because the Bessemer, Alabama vote is starting to get counted today. So that we don't really know. They say it could take a few days. My thought is it's probably going to go into next week because I think Amazon's going to try everything humanly possible. By the way, there is a drone. I don't know if that's an Amazon drone but there is literally a drone above us. It's not? Okay. So it's not an Amazon drone. It would have been better if it was, but it's not. But this could extend, because I have a feeling Amazon's going to basically try and slow it down, contest as many votes as they can, and kind of throw the whole thing into chaos. And that is why you need to ask yourself, and the media is not asking this question, why is Amazon so against this unionization effort? Really think about that. Why would a $1.5 trillion company, why would they be so against a basic union drive? Maybe because they know if this passes, the jig's kind of up. They're gonna have a whole onslaught of other unionization efforts. They're not going to be able to intimidate their workers as easily, because they'll have to deal with the union instead of directly with the workers. Basically, Bezos knows that how he got 25 bathrooms in his mansion, literally 25 bathrooms, basically is because of all this exploitation, this inhumane conditions. And, you know, as a journalist, you're not supposed to give your opinion and all this shit. Listen, this is very black and white, okay? Workers are dying. Workers are shitting in bags. Workers are peeing in water bottles. They can't go to the bathroom or they'll be docked time. So, like, if you want to be neutral to that, that's your business. But that's kind of, you know... All right, here we go.
All right, y'all. We are here. Are y'all ready to march on Jeff Bezos today? Yeah! It's a beautiful day today. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you all for joining us here in solidarity. Shout out to the workers of Bessemer right now that just completed their first union drive. Y'all can do better than that. Everybody should be supporting this. Thank you. So as we stand here, 1 year ago, we was out here, and trust me, it was a surreal feeling. I still try to get a grasp of it because it happened so fast. You know, 1 year ago, I didn't know what was going to happen. I just knew I was doing the right thing, trying to stick up for these workers here at JKA. You know, coming from a position of leadership, as you can see, it wasn't nobody else from a supervisor, management position that decided to go through and walk out on protest. A lot of them turned their head the other way. You know, some of them are my friends that I still communicate with till this day. And I have nothing against them. You know, they have to keep their job. And I had to be the sacrificial lamb to ultimately provide protections for my fellow co-workers. And as a position of leadership, I felt that it was my responsibility, whether I'm on the clock or off the clock. Didn't matter to me. When Amazon told me I could stay home and be safe and sound with my children and family, I said, well, what about my family that's here? These people that I spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week with. I can go home and lay my head on the pillow, but how can I lay comfortably and complacent and forget about the folks that's here and their family and their children that come to my children's birthday parties and vice versa? So I couldn't do that. I could not. And I don't know how anybody could have done that. But once again, I don't want to hold that over them. But at the same time, this was life or death last year. New York City was the epicenter. People were dying every 15 minutes. They were literally putting bodies in straight trucks, leaving bodies in people's homes for 7 days. Nurses had 7, 8, 9 patients, double-digit patients. And a lot of them were out here last year with us on the picket lines because they said saving essential workers' lives were helping them out, because guess who they were seeing as patients? Frontline workers, essential workers, workers in warehouses. That's who they were seeing. So us fighting was helping their cause as well. And we still continue to stand in solidarity with them. 1 year later, I would have never imagined that we'd be on the brink of the first U.S. unionized drive here in the States. I would have never imagined that. And I'm happy. Whether they win or lose, it still galvanized and sparked the fuse for all these workers nationwide to start unionizing these facilities. Starting right here, where it all started. I'm happy. I'm joined by my fellow co-workers and former co-workers, some that still work there right now. And we want to unionize. We want to absolutely unionize starting today. So, what I usually do as we get started, I start these off with a moment of silence for all the workers who tested positive, all the workers who passed away that we don't know about. Workers in here, workers in this facility have passed away, and they swept it under the rug. And I always said from the beginning, the blood will be on their hands, and somebody needs to be held accountable. We all know who that person is, Jeff Bezos. He was the CEO when the coronavirus happened, and I know he stepped down, probably got legal advice to do so, but that doesn't change the course of our direction. All the focus and attention and accountability needs to be focused on Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. And it's a damn shame that I'm saying that the richest man in the world failed to protect his own workers, the ones who made him the richest man in the world, the ones that he profited off every single day, the ones that make him almost $4,000 a second, $9 million an hour, $13 billion a day. That's what he made during the pandemic. $13 billion a day. He could have paid all of us 6 figures and still had as much money as he did before the pandemic. He could stop world hunger. He could stop evictions. He could stop unemployment. Just by being taxed, he can help out communities. And he does none of these things. He pays 0 taxes. What is wrong with this system? A lot. And before I get into all of that, I would love to have a moment of silence. We'll have 10 seconds of a moment of silence for all those who lost their lives last year. Thank you. Without further ado, I would like to bring up a family that reached out to me, or actually I reached out to them a couple months ago in Virginia. A worker reached out to me from that facility and told me about a co-worker of hers that passed away. Her name was Kushan Brown. And I said, how did she pass away? And she told me Kushan was testing her co-workers at Amazon. And I said, no. She was testing her workers, testing her co-workers, and she was. Swab nose. No N95 mask, no facial shield, no surgical gloves, no gown, no plexiglass. No plexiglass in that facility. Right next to the workers' station. She's testing workers. She even tried to warn them, saying workers are coming in here positive. She don't feel safe. They disregarded it. Unfortunately, suddenly, in her sleep, she lost her life. And her family's here today. They traveled up here from Virginia to join us today. And I just want to say I'm so sorry for their loss. No amount of money in the world can bring her back. Nothing can make this right. The only thing we can do now is continue to tell her story and try to tell the public what's really going on. The public don't know. The media, they get their statements, and their statements always say, Amazon does this, Amazon does that, Amazon protects their workers, Amazon cares about that, they care about these families, they send condolences. That's it. That is a damn shame. They ain't pay for no funeral services, they didn't even check on her. They called the family and asked her when is she coming back to work, not knowing she was already dead and gone. That's a damn shame. That's how disconnected this company is from their own workforce. They don't even know what's going on. It wasn't until our efforts that they wanted to reach out to the family, weeks later, by the way, and say, oh, we shared the GoFundMe in the building. That's all they did. We offered counseling for what, 2-3 months? It's already about to expire. Counseling, that's it. Free of charge, they say. That's it. After that expires, what else has happened? Nothing. And that is not enough, and that's not acceptable. And we're not going to stand for that. So without further ado, Christina and her daughter Gabby is here today. Let's give her a warm welcome. Thank you for traveling up here today. Yeah. I'll hold this for you. I want y'all to see this beautiful black queen.
So, I'm a little nervous because this is the biggest crowd that I spoke to. Hi, Jordan. So, just bear with me because I can barely speak in front of 1 or 2 people. So, first of all, I want to thank you, Chris, for inviting me to come up. It's a pleasure and an honor being here. And I want to thank everybody for being out here today. I want to thank everybody who's called and texted, sent emails, donated for my sister, everybody that's Googled the name that kept it going. I want to thank you guys. I want you guys to continue to spread the word. I want the media. I want Fox. I want CNN. I want everybody to know about my sister. I want everybody to know about Pushan Renee Brown. I want everybody to know that my sister was the sweetest thing. She was the best sister, the best mother you could ever have. And I know I gotta pace myself, but I wanna start off by saying this is that to Jeff, because it's on the tip of my tongue and I gotta get it out. My sister loved working for your company when she was a driver, and she was a flex driver. And then she started off as a driver for the warehouse. She loved working for your company. She loved it. She could not wait until she got her blue badge. And then she became a permanent full-time employee. She loved it. She loved coming to work. Whether you worked her 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, she loved it. She loved working for your company. She worked for your company for 4 years. She was not a fly-by-night employee. She worked for your company for 4 years until the day she died. She loved working for your company, Jeff. She worked every shift in that warehouse, every shift. She started off working at Amazon because our mother was bedridden and paralyzed. She got in an accident in 2017, so my sister had to quit her job as administrative assistant. And she started off working at night, on a night shift. First it was flex driver, then it was a night shift as a night sorter. She worked every shift in that warehouse. She did everything. She never said no to anybody. And I want you to know that she loved your company. And when my sister died, I reached out to you guys. I waited 2 weeks. Nobody ever got back. Y'all was told y'all would get back. Y'all got back to me 3 weeks later. and y'all offered me and my niece, her daughter, 2 months of grief counseling that expires on April, which is in 24 hours. It expires tomorrow, April the 1st. Jeff, that's not fair.
Shame.
She slaved for you. She worked for you through the pandemic. She came in. Me and her got into 2 arguments. We never got into argument. We got into 4 arguments in our whole life, and 2 of them was because of you, because of your company. It's because I said, Mommy is bedridden. If something happens and you bring back something to Mommy, the doctor said that this is it. Please, I will find you another job. She loved to bake. She loved to bake. She could cook anything. The last argument me and my sister got in about her working at Amazon and being a COVID tester was December. It was December 28th. My sister died January 8th.
Dang.
Woo.
Dang.
And it's just me. It's just little old me. I'm not trying to take your company down. I will never. Nobody here will ever be able to unravel or destroy Amazon. You are going to continue to go soar, floor, and make billions of dollars. But I just want to know, how do you think that it's fair for you to have somebody come in here doing temperature checks, COVID testing, without no proper gear? That's not a doctor. She's not a medical profession. She's never been in medical school. How do you think that's okay? Why do you think that's okay? Because in the beginning when my sister died, I was so hurt. I was so angry. I was so upset. I was so confused. Like, God, how could you do this? Why? Why is this happening? Who's going to take care of her daughter? Like, I'm almost 40 and I have my mom. We just lost my grandmother. My mom just turned 64 yesterday. She had her mom till she was 64. She's 12. She doesn't have her mom. How is she going to go through life without a mom? Without Pooh? Pooh was the sweetest thing. She was the best mom. She never said no. She never said no. I worked at Amazon with my sister. My sister never said no. I said no to y'all all the time because y'all wasn't going to come in there and work with me because I had another job. Y'all wasn't going to do that to me. Y'all worked my sister through the pandemic. And then then nobody still to this day has reached out and said anything. We had to have a talk, Jeff. How do you think that it's okay?
That's right.
That's right.
How do you think it's okay for her to come in here and COVID test people? And then, like, we just gonna 2 months, that's gonna be okay? Like, and I see people on the Google and the news, they say, well, why did she do it? This is why she did it. This is why she did it. This is why she did it. But at the end of the day, everybody's asking, why did she do it? Let's ask him, why did he do it?
Right.
When you have enough money to get doctors, lawyers, you could have opened up a small clinic. You could have opened up a patient first in there and had them testing 24 hours. You never closed the warehouse. She sent emails. Jeff, let me tell you, from 2018, she worked for your company until 2021 till she died. She didn't start getting scared until, I want to say, August. When people were coming in there, testing positive, and still working, and the managers knew about it. And me and her was bumping heads. She sent numerous emails, anonymous emails, text messages, which I all have. So if you ever do get to reach out to me and talk to me, if they do hear this, if you do, you know my number. You can call me. Everybody knows to get in touch with somebody. I'll show it to you. I mean, it wasn't until August. She was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm a little bit over my head now. And then now she's not here, and it's just like, okay, well, you just going to use these people, and then you're going to use her, because I think I've been doing research since my sister died. She is the first person that was COVID testing and that's died from COVID testing. Now, she's not the first person at Amazon who have contracted COVID or have died from COVID from coming to work, but she is the first person who was COVID testing illegally. That should not be COVID testing that died. And at the end of the day, we all know we're not stupid out here. If you're going to go order Domino's pizza, you're not going to allow the Domino's driver to put a swab up your nose. That's a lawsuit. You can keep your pizza. You're not going to swab my nose. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, the CDC says that nobody should be doing COVID testing besides the medical profession.
That's right.
And I mean, I'm older than her. I know her my whole life. She never went to medical school. So I'm just trying to find out why you think this is okay, how you think this is okay. Because right now, before in the beginning, I was upset, I was angry, I was confused. Now I just want some answers, because I want to know, how do you think this is okay? When you could hire people to come in there. You had another employee train my sister, and then her to go here and COVID test other employees. And it's like when she told y'all they were coming in there testing positive, it was like a secret. Everybody had to keep it quiet. And so it's like, oh, sorry, not even sorry. Your sister worked for my company for 4 years. That's it. Okay, here's 2 months. No, Jeff, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. We gotta talk. We gotta talk, and I'm ready to talk. We need to talk because it's not fair and it's not right. It's not fair and it's not right. You could have had doctors, you could have had nurses, you could have had clinics, you could have had people coming in, you could have had a whole trailer outside for doctors to just come in there and just test. That's all they had to do. That's all you could have did. You had enough money to do that. And I mean, this is a life that's lost, and I'm never ever going to get my sister back. I'm never going to see her again. It hurts me every single day. Every single hour. It's not a second that don't go by. I don't think about my sister. My sister was everything to me and is everything to me. And it's not fair. And I need some answers, and I want them from you. If I can't get them from you, to have some people call me. Have your people call me. I don't have any people yet, but have your people call me, because I'm ready to talk. And we need to talk.
That's right.
You got us.
That's right.
You got us.
Can I just ask her a question? Christina, do you mind telling, we got a lot of people watching, you called Amazon Seattle headquarters, and what did they force Gabrielle, 12-year-old Gabrielle, to do?
Well, she had her listed as the emergency contact and me, and then they wanted, I guess I wasn't good enough, but they wanted her to get on the phone and give them her mom's information as far as her birthday and when she died, and her social security number. And they said that was the proper procedure and protocol. And we were on the phone with them. Well, that was a long day. That morning, my mom had been calling them. They had hung up on her twice. And then the third time I heard them hang up, that's when I came downstairs. Because I just wanted my mom to leave it alone. Because when people die, when you lose somebody, you know, because I had lost my grandma. We just lost my grandma in September. It was different. No, it was different then. It's because, you know, my granny, you know, she was old. She was 80. But my sister, my baby sister, I was talking to her. I talked to her up until the day she died. I talked to her up until that morning. And I wanted my mom to just stop because it was so much. I wanted her to leave them alone and stop calling Amazon, because at the end of the day, you know, they didn't even know she had died. They were calling us, asking us when she was going to come back to work. So it's a lot of confusion, and I did not want my niece to be caught up in it, but they wanted her to be caught up in it until we could find out if she had any life insurance. You know, they gave us the information, but then they didn't give us they gave us the names. They didn't give us any information. So they put her on the phone, and they said that they weren't going to give us anything because she didn't know her mom's social security number or birthday or date of birth or the day she died. And they didn't even know it. So I was confused. But a week later after that, and I think it went up on the internet. 3 days after that, they reached out and offered us 2 months of the grief counseling. And I don't know if they know that when you lose somebody, sometimes it takes you 2 months to find out what the hell's going on.
That's right.
Amen.
You may not even figure out what the hell's going on. Because I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So the counseling expires April 1st. And I just want to go back to Jeff, because Jeff, I just really want you to call me because we got to have a talk. Do you think that a person that worked for your company for 4 years is only entitled to 2 months of grief counseling? I think she's going to need a lifetime, because I know I'm never going to get over this.
That's right.
Do you think that was okay? Did you approve that? Do you know what's going on? Like, did you really know that people were in there COVID testing? I mean, you had to know it, but did you know that somebody died? Did you know that she had a daughter, a single mother, and she was a damn good employee for your company? She never said no. She took a lot of shit that I wasn't willing to take. And I just want to know, why do you think 2 months was okay?
They don't care. They don't care. And that's why we out here. That's why we here. That's why we here.
Support you, sis.
We're going to support you until
We're going to support her until it's over. And that's exactly why we're here, and we're happy to have you. Thank you so much for your time. Jackie, would you like to say anything? Sure. proud of you, and your mother is looking down on us, and she's proud that we're fighting for her. I know she is. And this is for you. We want to present this to you right here in front of everybody. We want you to take that back home to Mommy, and tell Mommy I'll give her a call later on. I've been talking to her family, and I want to make sure that they're good all the time. So once again, can y'all give it up for her for having the courage to tell her sister's story today. She traveled up here. She took the train up here from Virginia to come join us in solidarity. And Jeff, you already know. You know my name very well, Jeff. And you know, for this last year, I've been a thorn in your side. And guess what? I ain't done yet.
That's right. That's right.
So, once again, you know, no amount of money is going to bring back Pushan and several other workers who have lost their lives last year. And when I think about it, it angers me that, once again, y'all look, this building wasn't even here last year. It was under construction. They just taking up our property. This is our community.
That's right.
What community is this?
Our community.
This is actually Linea Lenape community. It's stolen land. We're on Lenape community right now. And they come, and they build, and they capitalize off of our backs.
That's right.
And as you can see, they use and abuse us. They kill us. And go about their billionaire life. That's it. That's just what this company is doing. That's what this country is doing. We've seen it blatantly in front of our eyes, how capitalism thrives while we suffer and continue to suffer. And we get scraps and breadcrumbs and stimulus checks that don't do shit for us.
That's right. Shame.
It's a shame. And without the power of the community, without the power of the people coming together, this is all we have. This is it. Whatever community you represent, whatever organization you represent, that's all you have at the end of the day. You can't rely on these billionaires. You can't rely on the 1% class. You can't rely on these politicians. We need elected officials that's going to represent us.
That's right.
Stop supporting them. Stop supporting these elected officials that don't do shit. They're not willing to put their neck on the line.
That's right.
Not willing to stand on the picket lines.
That's right.
I don't give a damn how good you are of talking to the media and cameras. If I ain't see you in those streets, then you ain't for me. I know one person who was in those streets, though. I know one person who's running for mayor right now. And I believe in her. Every time I see her and every time I hear her speak and tell her story, she reminds me of my mom raising her daughters, my mom raised me and my brother in a tough single parent environment. You gotta be a fighter. And she represents that. And I would like to bring her to the stage. Come here, Diane Morales. She's running for mayor, y'all, running for mayor.
So this is Diane Morales running for New York City mayor.
I don't know that I need this. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
You got it.
So, I'm honored to stand in solidarity with all of you today. I really appreciate my brother Chris here and each and every one of you who is standing up to fight the power because you are not disposable. We are not disposable. My name is Diane Morales, and I am the first Afro-Latina candidate for New York City mayor.
Let's go.
I am the daughter of a union family. I am a single mother. I am a first-generation college graduate. And I am also running for mayor because I want to elevate and center the voice of the because it is time. For too long, millionaires and billionaires have grown their wealth off the back of the working class and the poor. And we are not going to take it anymore.
That's right.
Every worker deserves a union.
That's right.
Full stop. My parents deserve the union. Chris deserves a union. Each and every one of you deserves a union.
That's right. That's right.
The workers in Bessemer deserve a union.
Yes. Yes.
We are here today because we stand in solidarity with the workers in Bessemer, as votes to unionize are currently arriving at the NLRB. Because we know that Bezos and the Amazon executives do not care about their workers. If they did, they wouldn't have covered up that your colleagues got sick. They would have given y'all bathroom breaks.
That's right.
Yep.
They would allow you to organize and unionize. They would support workers' rights.
That's right.
For too long, though, we know they continue to exploit your labor while they extract the wealth from our communities. But I and all of us know that workers fighting anywhere are workers fighting everywhere.
That's right.
Your fight is our fight. Our fight is their fight, and we are all together. Our recovery is contingent upon empowering and uplifting the working class, black and brown people of our city and our country. For too long, everything has been centered around the wealthy. The pandemic made it clear that that doesn't work. The pandemic has shown us who is truly an essential worker. Who is truly an essential worker? Can I hear the essential workers in this crowd right now?
Yeah.
You are the essential workers. It's not millionaires or billionaires. It's our grocery clerks, our pharmacy staff, our sanitation workers, and each and every one of you. You have made it possible for our cities to keep running. The rich have fled our cities and they have hoarded our wealth for way too long. They don't deserve to be at the center anymore. Billionaires during this pandemic have made $156 billion.
Talk about it.
While the rest of us have struggled and many of us have died. None of this money is self-made. They took that money from us.
That's right.
That money is ours. And that is why we also need to fight to tax the rich.
Right. That's it.
Talk about it.
Right now we got Cuomo trying to tell the working people of New York that we don't need to tax the wealthy. But we've got to tax the rich because we've got to reinvest in us and in our communities because our hospitals have been failing, our schools have been failing, and our support systems have been failing. Every worker deserves a union.
That's right.
Every worker.
That's right.
Unions are a pathway to the middle class, especially for black and brown New Yorkers and people like my parents. We must protect the workers also that are not unionized. We must fight to raise our minimum wage because we all know that nobody can live off $15 an hour.
Right. It's not happening.
We must invest in job training and programs that place New Yorkers in high-quality union jobs as well. And we've got to end corporate handouts. We've got to resist the corporate influence and fight companies that seek to exploit our workers. It is our time. Now is our time. We are at a moment of unprecedented crisis, but we must make this an unprecedented opportunity to center and elevate the voices of so many that have been exploited, been treated as if they were disposable, and left behind. We can't let companies dictate policy. Our people need to dictate policy.
That's it. That's it.
Policy and politics need to work for us.
That's it.
We need to claim our space and claim our place because democracy is about us. And we are not going to stand it anymore. My name is Diane Morales. I am running for mayor of New York City, and I am running for you. Thank you for having me here today. It's a pleasure to stand with you.
Sounds like my mayor right here. I don't know about y'all, but that sounds like my mayor.
Thank you.
Diane Morales, everybody.
Thank you.
What about
Wow.
workers' control from the shop floor? You and everybody that works there determining how much is produced and when and why. Do we support that, Ms. Morales? I hope so. But I don't know how under capitalism. We got to struggle over that.
Once again, we got to elect the right officials. That's right. We got to change the system.
Extracting, once she gets in, she's on the other side. We got to extract as much as possible.
We coming right with her. She one of those that's going to bring us all together.
Hold up. Once I get in, I will continue to represent the communities from whence I have come.
That's right.
And we have to embrace the notion and the strategy that it's going to take some of us on the outside and some of us on the inside to create the kind of change that we really need to see.
We both got to play our part.
We going to play our part.
Right? Because the one-sided thing has not worked for us so far.
Neither has competition around the world.
That's right, it has not. We can change the economic model, and we need to do that together. We need to move away from corporate-centered, extractive profits and move towards community-owned, community-led, cooperative, worker-owned economic models.
That's right. That's it.
And that's what we're going to do.
Thank you. That's it. Can't have said it better. And we're gonna come with you. We already know. Without further ado, I'd like to bring somebody else who's running for president of Local 100 TW. Did I say that correctly? Come on up here. The Lioness. The Lioness. I'm gonna have you introduce yourself, Lioness.
Thank you.
Yes, I love it, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I like to do call and response.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So I want us to do a little chant real quick. The people united will never be defeated.
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 My name is Evangeline Byers, and I'm running for president of TWU Local 100.
That's right.
It is the largest transport workers union in the United States. I am the first woman to run for president of TWU Local 100. I come out here today to stand in solidarity with the Amazon workers and to know that your struggle is our struggle. Fortunately for me, I am a member of a union, right? So it comes with all the rights and privileges of what a union is supposed to have. However, the same atrocities that have happened here at Amazon is currently happening in the MTA, right? So we have over 157 people dead during the pandemic. We were denied PPE in the early days of the pandemic. They broadcasted it. They told us we could not have PPE. If we wore masks, we would be penalized for it. They had us operate in full service through the whole entire pandemic. No hazard pay. Currently, our workers who work through the pandemic, who are continuously going out COVID and testing positive for COVID, are not even being reimbursed their wages. They're being made to use their own sick time. So if you think that Amazon is going through something without a union, imagine what they're going through without a union, and we have one. Right? So this fight for organized labor is a real fight.
That's right.
We're calling for the resurgence of the labor movement.
That's right. That's right.
Right? We're calling for the resurgence of the labor movement, where it's run by the people.
That's right.
Not by people of corporate interest, or those who get in the seats and are become well-fed and unconcerned.
That's right.
It's time for us to take back locals. If you guys understand what's happening right now, 35% of organized labor. It used to be 35% of jobs in America were organized, were under unions. It's now at 6% and steadily on the decline. We are in desperate need, right, of a movement, of a resurgence of the labor movement, because if we do not, we will all become at-will workers. What's happening in Bessemer and all of the places in the South will become what happens to the rest of us. So we have to commit to ensuring, this is a union state. Amazon in New York City will be unionized.
That's right.
They will be unionized. They will be unionized. So this is not something that's hard to happen. We just have to be committed. And we need people like Diane Morales, who understands the needs and the interests of the people, for us to get behind her and make sure she becomes mayor. Right? You have to make sure people like that get in. We see the people with money, the Mark McGuires, or whatever his name is, the Eric Adams, all these people that are now well-fed and unconcerned. They'll come knock on the project doors and give you a mask. They'll do the showtime, but they're not going to do the work. The work is this. The work is being upfront and available. The work is being on the front lines. And so as I run for president of TW Local 100, I stand unified in solidarity with all workers everywhere, because I understand the importance of organized labor. Currently within our union right now, we had what caused me to be able, what compelled me to run, was I'm on the executive board. Let me help you to understand how powerful the executive board of any organization is. When Jeff Bezos was forced out from being CEO of Amazon, guess where he secured a seat? On the executive board. Because that's where all the decisions are made. That's where the seat of power is. That's where the people are protected at, right? Same thing at TW Local 100. Sitting on the executive board, it's time to ratify our contract. The union never gave us a contract to ratify. They pushed it through without ever having to give us the document in our hand. Currently, we don't know what we're under, right? And listening to these people jockey and position themselves for power. During the pandemic, TW Local 100 brought in $33 million in union dues. Never gave one of us a mask. They all have masks. They're all okay. So it's time for the people to take it back. And not only are we fighting against the corrupt union bosses, but we're also fighting against Cuomo. Cuomo, who's refusing to leave after sexually being accused of sexual misconduct. Not to mention what he did with the nursing homes, and 157 people dead. He wrote a book in the midst of a pandemic that's still raging, giving himself congratulations. We want him out. We want him out, and we have to all stick together. Every fight for liberation and struggle, right? It's all interconnected. If one of us are not free, none of us are free. So we have to fight together. So I thank you all, and continue just to stay active and stay vigilant. Again, the people united will never be defeated. My name is Evangeline Byers, candidate for president of TW Local 100.
Wow.
Amazing. And if you are representing the TWU, I advise y'all to vote her as the first president, woman president of that local. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Now we're going to switch courses. We're going to stay in the same type of atmosphere. Do I see, is Diana Florence here? Is Diana Florence here? I thought I saw her. Maybe not. All right, we'll just continue along with the program. What I would like is for all the members of TCOEW who are Amazon employees to come forward. And if you're an Amazon employee that's here, to come forward. Clap it up for the Amazon workers! So, this is what it's about, folks. Standing in solidarity with the Amazon workers, especially those in Alabama right now that just took part of the most historic union vote in a very long time in modern day history. These workers here My co-workers, majority of my co-workers, former, worked at this facility, decade, this massive, million square feet, 14 NFL football fields. They slaved away with me 10 hours a day, 11 hours, 6 days a week. We shared our blood, sweat, and tears in this building. Some of us for years, 4.5 years, 4 years, 5 years. People have been here. And these workers today want to tell their stories of what happened to them. Some even came as far as Arizona. We had some workers that came from Arizona. Where you at, Brett? My comrade, Brett. All the way from Arizona to tell his story of what happened to him during the pandemic. But last year, the same day, March 30th, when I started everything, I couldn't do it without my 3 brothers, Gerald Bryson, Jordan Flowers, and Derek Palmer. I couldn't do it. Amazon quarantined me on March 28th. That was Saturday last year. Me and Derek went back to my house in Jersey, crossed that God-Those Bridge, like 10 minutes in, and we sat in my room, heads down. We were like, we fucking lost. That's it. You know, that was it. We didn't know what to do. 2 days before the walkout. But we said, you know what, fuck that. If we give up, if I stop, ain't nobody else gonna pick up and pick up where we left off. So what we did, we reached out, got some more workers that were working there. Gerald, Jordan, Tristan, Jason, they still work there. We started building online, building this walkout. I contacted the media finally published, the New York Post finally published. The media started flocking to us. Now, we gotta go through, we gotta execute. That's all we have to do now, there's no turning back. The story was out there. They asked me, do I want to put my name on the line? And I said, you know what, who else is gonna do it? Might as well. Throw it out there. And that was it. The rest was history. March 30th, we came out here. We told our stories with several different people. We had a historic walkout. Workers came out at lunchtime, 12:30-ish. Came out, told their stories. And here we are 1 year later, continuing to uplift these stories as we travel the country in the midst of a pandemic. I don't think there's no other organization I can think of, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure there's some out there. But we literally travel to every Jeff Bezos mansion that we can think of. Yeah. Did we not? Yeah. Started off in New York City at this $80 million mansion. We traveled down to Washington, D.C. to his $28 million mansion, which is a museum, by the way. Right. We're surrounded by Secret Service, everything. We set up a building there, so yes, we were the ones who did that. Traveled out west to his $165 million mansion in Beverly Hills. We had a drone come and scramble. Status Coup was there on the ground. They scrambled our service in front of Jeff Bezos' residence. A drone, y'all. From there, we went to Seattle.
Which is illegal, by the way.
Illegal, definitely illegal. But we know billionaires, they got money, you know something we don't. Everything else is illegal. So we went to Seattle to his first mansion in Medina, whatever way you want to pronounce it. Then we also hit up Amazon headquarters. But our last trip was probably the most important trip. We went to Alabama. We were down there about a month ago. And I'm gonna throw this out there because I don't care right now. We went down there before the politicians did. And we ain't getting no grand welcome. That's a fact. But we don't care about that. We cared about connecting with those workers. And that's exactly what we did. We spoke to several workers. We told them, we drove 16 hours down there to tell them what happened in New York. And they ain't know. You think they come home from work and turn on CNN and get on Twitter and get on social media and see all the things we're doing? You're sadly mistaken, they don't. I can tell you now, after a long day of working at Amazon, you're going to sleep. And they didn't know anything about what happened. They didn't know about the walkout we did. They didn't know about me being fired. They didn't know who the hell I was. But I was happy to have that conversation. I was happy to tell them, because that story right there, that connection, me letting them know that I was a picker like you. I was on the assembly line like you. These workers travel here, they do the same thing y'all do. We need y'all to vote yes. Not only did some of them say they're going to vote yes, they said they're going to tell their co-workers. And that's what it was about. That solidarity. And we continue to show that solidarity here today. So without further ado, I'm going to let my slew of Amazon workers clap it up for them. These are your essential workers, right? They deemed us essential workers, meaning that we are a necessity, right? They need us. We were the lifeline, the bloodline of this country, so to speak. Even though we were packing and picking non-essential items, we still put our lives at risk. And we're here to tell that truth, to tell our stories today. Derek Palmer, y'all.
How's everybody doing today? Thank you for everyone that came out. We really appreciate this, and I just want to say that it's been an honor to be standing with my brother Chris, Jason, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm a little. my brother Brett, Jay, everybody, Gerald. I'm just here to let you guys know that it's been a long journey. Last year, March 30th, it changed my life. I've never been involved in anything like this, but I couldn't be more proud. March 30th, we marched right there in front of that building. We marched that building. We didn't walk, we marched there. We had our signs, and we demanded our respect. They didn't give us any PPE. They didn't do anything for us. We raised our concerns to them, and what did they do? Nothing. They didn't do anything. They retaliated against us. They fired Chris. They fired Jerry. They gave me a final write-up. They said we violated social distancing. How did we violate social distancing? Y'all did that. Y'all didn't do anything for us. We raised our concerns, and what y'all do? Y'all turned your back on us. Not only did y'all turn your back on us, y'all turned your back on this whole building. Y'all turned your back on Staten Island. Y'all turned your back on every state in America. You turned your back on everyone. The associates that built y'all, that built this company. What did y'all do for us? What did y'all do? Why was there no mask here? People are dying. Kids are dying. Grandmothers are dying. People are dying. What did y'all do? Y'all didn't do anything. So I'm inspired. You know, this is big for me. This is the big moment for me and my brothers, and I'm just happy to be here. You know, we went down to Alabama and we talked to workers ourselves about the union vote. We encouraged them, like, guys, we know Amazon's mistreating you guys, but you guys got to fight. And the union is a way to fight back. A union is a way. You can raise your concerns, you can talk to your reporters all you want, but a union is going to make change. It's going to make these billionaires afraid, because they're already afraid. You see what they're doing out here?
Arguing?
Yeah, they made a whole website, do it without dues. Do it without dues, spreading false information to all these Amazon associates. They're putting them in their lockers. They're harassing them. They're making them do classes on union busting. 4 times a day for the entire week. That's crazy. That is crazy. Why are they doing this? Because union power is power. Worker power. That's what it's about. We're not playing with y'all. We've been doing this for a year. We're gonna keep going. Jeff Bezos knows who I am. He knows Chris. He knows everybody. He knows everyone at TCOPW. And he need to recognize, because we ain't going nowhere. All right?
This is the most I ever heard you fired up, bro.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so fired up. I'm so inspired, man. For real. And last, I want to let Jeff Bezos and Amazon know that we started one of the strongest walkouts ever in Amazon history. Not only did we start it, we inspired more associates to do the same thing. And that's worker power. Me and Chris and our brothers, we didn't know what was going to happen. We thought we were just going to go back to work and, that was it. No, we inspired a whole movement. From Jersey to Alabama to California, even outside the country. They are inspired and they're congratulating us, America. Other countries is laughing at us because we never stand up, and they do. But guess what? We standing up. Everyone is standing up, and it's only a matter of time before all them secrets that Amazon was trying to hide is exposed. I just want to say thank you again. I'm inspired, and I'm going to pass it on to my brother, Gerald.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gerald Bryson. I'm a co-founder of TCOEW. I started this with Christian Small and Jordan Flowers last year. It's been 1 year. Can't believe it. But it goes to show the staying power that we have. As somebody said, we might not be able to kill you, Jeff, you're not, giant killers and all that stuff. And, like Chris said, you might be a thorn in the side, but I'm thinking more like we could just chop off those legs. Because, basically this. The man has never cared about any of us. He cares about no one. Anytime you have any type of fundraising function in there, it's the employees who are putting up the money, the drives, taxes. It all comes from us. They pay nothing in taxes. So if we have any type of fund in there where they're going to help somebody out, they take our money and pay their taxes. They have used us in every way possible, and that's what people have to realize. There's people in this building right here that are ignorant to the truth. There's some people that haven't worked in their first 40 years. They sold drugs, did whatever on the streets. Jeff gave them a job. Because that's how he gets it done. Hires anybody. There's no requirements for this job. Just come to work. We'll put you where you need to be. And that right there is our problem, because we have a lot of people that don't know what labor laws are, and they come in here and they just don't know what they're doing. I remember when I first started here, I was well advised on labor laws. I've been through unions and everything. And I can remember one day babbling off and just talking. I had about 7 or 8 managers behind me in the next 5 minutes. Can we help you, Joe? Is anything wrong? Because they wanted me to say the L word so they could terminate me at that point. But I realized that. I said, I think I'll stick around a while longer. So I didn't say anything. But the bottom line is, I'm not going to go through my whole story. Everybody, you can read it. It's all over the papers right now and everything else. But I'm going to tell you this. Amazon, from the beginning, we're protesting here for safety, for PPE. All we wanted was masks, gloves, a little sanitizer. Look where we are a year later. During that course, they put up 1,000 commercials showing how they're helping us all and keeping everybody safe. But when you went to each individual location or building, everybody said they're not giving us anything. They're not supplying us with safety. So Jeff, this is basically to you, man. I would call you some other words, but I'm just going to keep it to myself. But, this is really looking crappy. People have died in your facility. You think stepping down is going to save you, but we got you tracked. The way you had those drones flying over us? Well, trust and believe. We got our own methods to track you too, Jeff. Eyes are on you, on site. We're not going to stop. We're not going to give up. We're going to be here this year, next year, and the year after if it fucking takes, until you fucking come to terms that you have done the wrong thing, and it's time to make amends, at least. You have a congressional hearing. You didn't do good there. All this stuff has to make you think, like, who is really with us? our mayor, our governor, we know he's not there. I've been crying for him for the longest to come down and say something. You say you're keeping our city safe. You know, you're taking all these measures. We got to wear masks. We got to do this. We got to do that. But one thing you didn't do, Jeff, Cuomo, you didn't come to see Jeff to ask him to shut down his facilities, being that the cesspools, they're cesspools, all of them. Did you shut them down? Did you ask him? Did you make up a plan? Say, hey, let's shut down this one, thoroughly clean it for 2 weeks, pay these employees, then we'll move on. We'll take safety precautions. No, you didn't. You know why you didn't? I'm not afraid to say it looks like a payoff to me. I mean, all these big politicians got paid off. That's why we're not getting anything. It's obvious. If you wasn't paid off and you were doing the right thing, you would be here. You would be with us. You know, and we're not getting that. So it's obvious that something has to be done. As Christian said, we need to revise our whole city government and possible state government, because it's not doing for us. It's doing for them. You got a man up here with several charges, you know, and he doesn't want to step down, and he's just not doing the right thing for us as a people in this state. And we have to realize that now. I mean, no matter what you say, I mean, he has never answered. People are dead here from Amazon. He has never answered. And that's what bothers me the most. That our own governor in the state of New York, which is a labor state, probably the first fucking labor state ever, you know, is putting up with this bullshit and not doing anything, and not moving against this man. This is crazy. This is crazy.
You need to resign. We've been in front of his office 3 times.
On another tip, I mean, it's worldwide. Obviously, Amazon is so deep. I've said it before, people that know me, it's like, you know, we live in or watching RoboCop, where the corporation is taking over the city, the state, the whole damn country. That's what we're facing right now. When you get hired by Amazon, they tell you, their intention is to take over the world. They tell you, they want to supply everybody with all means. I had to sit down and think about that for a minute. I was like, well, wait a minute, that's like taking over the world. You know? And that's what they tell you. So, I mean, this man pays no taxes. Amazon, like I said, they have paid no taxes in the state of New York. How many of us get taxed like fucking for everything we do? Hell, we have to pay New York for everything we do. You pass the school zone too much, you got to pay a ticket. There's new cameras up all over the fucking place. But this man's not paying anything. He's just a billionaire. He's just, I mean, it has to have one at this point. We're here for safety. A lot of people have died. I mean, it's just inexcusable. Sean, I mean, I'm sorry to hear this. I mean, and like, you know, Christian said, one Amazon or one state doesn't know what the other one's doing. I mean, for us to go down, for them to go down to Alabama and not be known, we started a fucking worldwide movement. Hell, I was doing fucking interviews on Zoom in France and shit like that. And you're telling me that they didn't know about us down in Alabama? You know what? I'm going to say this, being that I've been several times a union man, I'm from the state of New York, I'm going to say this. Amazon needs a union. Every Amazon needs a union. Okay, but it's also, as this queen stated before, we have to be careful. Unions pray. We have to be careful who we choose to lead us. Okay? Just don't clap and say, okay, we got a union here, and jump to that union. All right? Because I'm going to tell you, when I didn't go with him, I had some business to take care of, but when he came back and told me that the union reps didn't know who he is, I was like, huh? They didn't know who he was. Get the fuck out of here. They can't possibly be on the same page as us. And you would have to know the whole movement, what's going on, and you don't know, you just know that Amazon, Alabama needed a union, so you rushed in. See, we have to be careful who we choose. And I say that to my sisters and brothers in Alabama. Be careful who you choose. Choose a union. Yes, get a fucking union. But make sure that it's one that's going to work for you and the people. You know, and we have to be careful, because with unions, there's a lot of people out here, and I have to state that will take your money and lay back in that seat, and nothing won't fucking happen. And from what I understood, that union that's down there that did that, they're one of those type of unions. So I have to state that. I want everybody to be safe. Choose wisely. Whatever we do, we have to choose and we have to move wisely at this point. Okay, this is very tender area, and we don't want to sign ourselves into a contract that we can't get the fuck out of. Okay, so I just want to make that known to everybody. Also, like I said, like it's been said before, solidarity. Solidarity is power, and there's power in solidarity. Let's use it correctly. Let's make them all pay what they should pay. Let's make Bezos pay the taxes that he owes this fucking country, and let's make him pay the money that he owes each and every one of us. Because it's us that built this. Not him. We built this, the people built this. You know, but the people also have to know their rights. You know, because this is modern day slavery here. I'll tell you no lie. You have to know your rights and you have to know how to stand up for yourself. Don't be scared to be fired. I remember being here and being tortured by that computer and thinking, well, I have a job tomorrow. That's how those people are right now across the street. Oh my God, I gotta keep my rate up. It's like watching a Twilight Zone episode. It's fucking disgusting. It's disgusting. And all those people in that building are on edge right now. They're all wondering, did I make my rate? Or is he gonna still fire me? Is the computer gonna fire me? Because it's just an analytic computer that Jeff uses. It's not even an AI. So that's how insensitive Amazon is to the people. They're letting just a program fire you. Oh, he didn't make his stats, it should be terminated, he says. This is what we're dealing with. It's time to change, and we can only change together. There's a lot of Jeff Bezos out there. They're all over the fucking place, and they're fucking thriving off of us. They're eating our souls. Well, like I said before, thank you for having me. You know, with that, I'm going to pass off to my man, Jay Flowers. Power and solidarity!
Hello, everyone. First off, I would like to say, during the pandemic last year, when we all walked out, I stayed home because I have health issues. Amazon, during this whole pandemic, has not helped me with my health issues. No medical bills help, nothing. They're right now trying to cut my insurance off. Getting emails, threatening emails saying I'm not coming into work because I'm scared to go inside and contract coronavirus. Let's add the fact, like I said, I have a medical issue called lupus nephritis, that now, as of this year, January, I have to get a kidney transplant. Amazon is still threatening me, saying I'm gonna lose my job. They don't care about my health? It's not right. It's a shame that, you know, they don't want to help me. They don't want to correspond. They don't want to help me with my issue, no type of leave or anything. They're still taking unpaid time from me to this day. I'm sitting on a negative 1,000 hours. No Amazon employees like that. And I still get, you're not coming to work, we're going to just terminate you. Every day, every other week. It's a shame that, you know, they fired Chris, walking out. They fired Joe, walking out. He got a final write-up. And I'm still here, still employed with them, like I said, that even with my health issues, that I have to get a kidney transplant this year. They just want to throw me out and get rid of me. It's unfair. Jeff, you know what I'm saying? I need help, you know. Can't cut off my insurance. I got bills to pay. I have a medical issue I had for 9 years, going into 10 years. And for you to just throw me out, just shows that any other Amazon employee, health issues or not, you're ready to throw them out. Solidarity, y'all. I'm gonna pass it off to my boy Tristan.
How's it going, guys? So I'm actually still a current employee here, unfortunately. I literally just came from work this morning just to attend this protest because I believe that any job or any company that is as big as Amazon should have a union to look out for their employees. Because at this point, we're not even people to them right now, we're just digits. And I can see how, you know, looking at it from a boardroom a million miles away, how we might just seem like digits to them, but we are real people with real lives and real problems. Every day I come into work scared that I will lose my job just because some manager doesn't like something that I do. And I don't live with my parents. I live on my own. I have my own bills to pay. Without this job, I'll be homeless and broke. So the fact that they could just come in at any day and just fire you for nothing is ridiculous. And that should not be the case. And Chris, I remember the first time I saw Chris when we were planning the walkout. I had come into the office to raise some concerns for safety on my own. And Chris was already in there with Derek and a bunch of other people raising their own concerns. And the way we were just completely shut out, they asked us all to leave and would only, after like 5 hours, would bring Chris into the office to try to explain something to him. Or just tell him to wait, and then an entire day would go by and we would not hear a single thing. I think it is ridiculous that a company as big as Amazon can afford billions of dollars in ads every year about how they're taking care of us, but not do one thing to take care of the actual workers that are currently working here. Every time I see one of those ads, it makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach that they have the gall to claim that, you know, they care about nothing more than employee safety and everything. But the second you walk in this building, social distancing, 6 feet, PPE, all of that goes right out the window. They have a whole social distancing team in there. A bunch of associates that are supposed to keep people 6 feet, but only in the break rooms. That means only in like 3 buildings, in 3 areas in the entire building do you have to remain 6 feet. But the second you work, you just step onto the floor, you're working around hundreds of people. And there is no social distancing whatsoever. That's why they'll never let you guys in there with the cameras. Even when they invite news crews, they will send that entire department on break.
Talk about it.
And Derek can tell you, for example, they did that once. When PBS came in or the New York Times, they'll send that entire department on break and have 1 or 2 people there still working. People that Amazon selects specifically to represent them. People that will always speak highly of Amazon. People that want to move up. People that will say anything that Amazon tells them. And that's the kind of people that Amazon promotes. That's why we need a union. Because there's no trust in leadership. There's no trust in corporate. We need somebody to look out for our interests. I talked to people today and told them that I was coming here while I was still in there. And many people agreed with the idea of a union, but were afraid to come because they said, I'm not losing my job. Like, I'm scared. Like, I don't want to go out there. Look what happened to Chris. Look what happened to Jerry. The example that we need to set is that they stood up for what was right, and they need to pass this union in Alabama, and I guarantee you JFK will be the very next one. Thank you.
I'll just tell my story really quick. I'm a former Amazon employee. I work with TCOEW now. Back in November of 2019, I had a family medical emergency and I was forced to leave work. And I applied for a family leave from Amazon, but I was told that it would be denied because the person in my family wasn't a blood relative. So, and this is also during peak season, and you can't apply for personal leave during peak season. But I went to HR and they said, no, it's fine, you have extenuating circumstances, just make sure you document it, you can apply for the personal leave. So I did, I left work, then a couple days later I got a call, your personal leave has been denied and also you're being fired for job abandonment. So my main problem there, also, that's the short version. Anybody who works at Amazon knows that when you're dealing with the leave team, there's no short version. I tried to appeal it. I actually went to the warehouse, sat there for an hour waiting for the appeal team to get together and hear my case, and at the last second they told me, oh, we can't hear your appeal after all, for whatever reason. So my main problem there is that I had nobody at Amazon to advocate for me. I didn't have a union. So here I am a year later with TCOEW in solidarity with the workers from Alabama who actually made it. Are about to form their union, hopefully, and in front of what I hope is also the next building to form a union.
Yeah. Talk about it. Talk about it.
I want to tell you guys something that if you're an Amazon worker, you probably heard this before, but at any point, if you ever mention forming a union inside the building, the managers have this like rehearsed little pitch they'll give you, and the first thing they always say is that they really value the direct relationship they have with their employees. Which, yeah, we all know that's code for we like the relationship where we tell you what to do when you do it. And if you have a problem with it, you end up like Chris or Gerald. They prefer the relationship where they dictate every aspect of your employment, your pay, your benefits, and your working conditions. And honestly, they don't care if you live or die. And I know that because people have died and nothing has changed.
That's right.
So, I don't know, I just think it's poetic that we're here today. Yesterday, the Alabama workers finished up voting. Now we're here today. It's the 1-year anniversary of when Chris and Gerald got fired. So I think I agree with you, Chris. It's time to take this fight that the Alabama workers started and turn it into a national fight.
Yeah.
How y'all feeling? Happy to be here in solidarity with y'all. Happy to be here with my comrades, fighting the good fight. I want to say that throughout time, Black, Brown, and Indigenous and other communities of color have resisted the carceral and imperialist state that we live in. It's because of them that we're here today fighting this good fight. It's because of leaders like Chris, Derek, Gerald, and Jay fighting the fight, fighting for workers' rights. And it's because of all of y'all. I thank you very much. So I want to say that I am a former Amazon employee, and I was inspired to join the Amazon workforce only because of people like Chris fighting this good fight. So I joined Amazon as a seasonal associate last May, and I just want to point that out, that they don't actually consider you an employee until a certain point in your experience at Amazon. You have to become what's called a blue badge as a full-time employee. So I fought the good fight traveling around the nation with my comrades, and was eventually this January, mid-January, let go among many other workers at my own site. Let go, and our assignment ended as a seasonal associate. So they don't care about the people. They are willing to exploit the land and people that they profit off of, and are willing to just drop you like that. So not only have I been inspired with my comrades at TCOEW, but as well as the movement in Bessemer, which is Black-led and women-led. Yep, so this is history in the making, becoming the possible first Amazon in the entire U.S. to unionize. This is huge, what this means for the working class people, and that this is not only just a working class movement, but an anti-racist movement as well. You have corporations like Amazon and more, the people in power, who are willing to exploit the same people and land that they're profiting off of and occupying. So we've got to continue this good fight. You know, we've got 2.0 Amazon Union here at the JFK facility. We'll take it, you know, all around the world. There's already unions across the world that already are.
They're on strike right now in Germany.
Yeah. They're on strike, and they're already represented by a union and facing the same tactics from Amazon. They're willing to do anything. So I appreciate y'all for being here. Solidarity, y'all.
Brett, all the way from Arizona. Thank you, Brett. Hey, last but certainly not least, this guy, Jason. For those who don't know, Jason worked directly under me, and he was one of the good employees that came to work, did his job, didn't put up with shit, and he still don't put up with shit. He's here to tell his story. Jason!
Thank you, y'all. I'm so happy to be here 1 year later.
Yeah.
1 year ago, 48 minutes ago, we were in the parking lot. Myself, Chris, and the rest of the team. But first, I want to say something first. Shame on the local media, especially the Latinx media, on not being here. Because they prefer to cover what's going on with Andrew Mark Cuomo instead of being here denouncing what's going on here.
That's true.
And at the same time, I want to thank Jordan from Status Coup that has been there with us since day one. Having voices about with Status Coup, nobody will know what's going on inside Amazon. But let's go to my story. I started to work in Amazon in Whole Foods as let's say a Prime Now associate. When Amazon Prime Now started here in New York City over 2 years ago. They offer me part-time scheduling that I have to literally hustle for schedule 3 times a week. And then it got to a time that I had to make a choice. It was to either stay in there or to transfer. So I decided to transfer. And my only option was JFK. When I got to JFK, I started in Halloween 2018. My manager right then, Katie, she was very kind. My former coworkers then, among them was Derek and Tristan and Gerald. They were very good coworkers back then, and they're still now, but in another capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, things changed. And at that point, I met Chris. Chris wasn't that type of manager that did things the normal way. He broke the norm.
Y'all can't tell?
And he didn't do what management told him to do. He supported the employee in every step of the way.
Wow.
When I found out about the rally that he did, I was in a league of absence. And I came all the way from Brooklyn, all the way over here to stand in solidarity.
Woo!
Back then, I was still an employee. And then July 2nd, 2020 came. I was terminated due to negative UPT because I decided to take care of my health before giving Amazon more profit. So I contacted a person I have on my Facebook page. I need Chris Small's phone number. He gave it to me. I called Chris. I told him what was going on. And from there, everything initiated. And since September, I'm part of the TCREW team. I've been traveling with Chris all the way from Beverly Hills to Seattle to Alabama. If this building was unionized, I will be still working with Amazon. But at the same time, supporting my brothers and sisters in solidarity, denouncing what's wrong. Because Staten Island was in certain point during COVID-19 the epicenter. And Mark Cuomo stated that in his pressers. What did he do?
Nothing.
He didn't close Amazon. Well, people like myself were working. I will see his pressers every day. I will tell why you don't close Amazon. He didn't care. But when the honeymoon came, him and Roy Wilhelm Jr., better known as Bill de Blasio, illuminated the Empire State Building and the World Trade Center and announced a huge investment that wanted to bring Amazon HQ2 to New York City. But on Valentine's Day, the breakup happened. Some people celebrated. Some people were angry. But today, March 30th, 2021, we're standing here in front of JFK 8. Standing here in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Bessemer, Alabama. Sending a clear message to Jeff Bezos that he should pay his taxes now. And not now. Pay his taxes that he owes now and those that he owes overdue. And not paying the ones only for Washington State. Pay taxes for all 50 states. And bring a union to that building right across the street.
And that one.
And all Amazon buildings in New York City. Because we are in a union town.
Yeah.
Because if transit workers have a union, despite the differences, and everybody else has a union, why not Amazon workers? If we were the ones that would deliver the package to everybody in the middle of COVID-19, and we still are. Believe it or not, people are ordering more from Amazon Prime now than ever before. Amazon is still hiring people left and right from every single facility throughout the United States, especially in New York City. But if that person fails to comply with their so-called quota, they fire them. And then what Amazon does, they bring more people. It's like a vicious cycle that never ends. But we need to end that vicious cycle now. This fight is not going to end today. Because my commitment since day one will be standing with my former boss, now boss as a comrade, being for the long run. Because if Bessemer is going to be unionized, we're going to make each and every building of Amazon to get a union. So if we don't get it, let's shut it down.
And that's my line. That's my line. Thank you. That was the Amazon workers. Y'all give it up for them. As we come to a close, we're gonna bring forth these unions that here representing some of the community activists that have been doing some great work. One sample here from Philadelphia, y'all. My comrade, he joined me before. Ted Kelly, come to the stage, my brother. From Philly. You too, brother. All right.
Let them hear you inside. Let them hear you. Let me hear you say union. Union. Let them hear you down in Bessemer, Alabama. Let me hear you say union. 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 You know, listening to all these amazing speakers today, and especially our comrades at the Congress of Essential Workers, it occurred to me, these folks know who their enemies really are. And their enemies are not the people of China, the migrants on the border. Their enemies are the bankers, the bosses, and the billionaires. We don't confuse that. That's it. And we are in a really important and really historic moment right now. And what that means is that we have the chance to win. We can win a union down in Bessemer. We can win a union here. We can win a contract. And as the old slogan goes, if you don't have a union, fight for a union. If you have a union, fight to make it fight.
That's it. That's right.
It's very important that we understand who the leaders are in this movement and who the leaders are historically. You look at the history of this country. This is a racist country. This is a country of stolen land and stolen people and stolen labor. That's it. And we know that for centuries it has been black workers standing up to the bosses to fight for fair conditions, for freedom, and for dignity. That's what the workers were doing in Alabama in the 1930s. It's what they're doing now, and we need to know these are our leaders. Follow their lead. I also just want to say very briefly that this struggle, as we all know, has been going on before any of us were alive. That's true. And the people who put their neck out on the line 50 years ago, 60 years ago, many of them are still with us. But they ended up in a different kind of warehouse. Not a warehouse for a distribution center, but the human warehouse. Prisons. These concentration camps for poor and oppressed people. Last night, we found out that Chip Fitzgerald, Black Panther political prisoner who had been incarcerated for over 50 years, died. Wow. We know that Russell Maroon Shoatz has contracted COVID-19. We know that Mumia Abu-Jamal has COVID-19, has congestive heart failure. And we need to know, and we need to fight for the leaders of our previous generations. Because we can't build a new generation of political leadership if we abandon our elders now. And that's why, you know, I heard a Bessemer worker say the other day that she's not just fighting for the workers in her facility, she's fighting for all workers, whether they're in the US or Italy or Germany or Palestine or Mexico, incarcerated workers, sex workers, gig workers, unemployed workers. And I just want to say, we are here for the long haul. We are long distance revolutionaries. Keep the good fight going.
Thank you, comrade.
That's why I love bringing him up here. He traveled 2.5 hours to give an amazing speech. Love him. Love you, bro. All right. Without further ado, I want to bring is Megan and Freddie with us? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got some unions for y'all, some union representation for y'all. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. So good to see you out here. I'm Megan.
Freddie.
When I say union, you say power. Union. Power. Union. Power. Union. Power. When I say workers, you say power. Worker. Power. Worker. Power. All right. We wanted to talk a little bit about the PRO Act and who we were. We're from Building Trades for Workers Democracy. We're rank and file building trade union members, and we support worker struggles everywhere. And we're definitely so proud to know Chris and to see you all fighting. And we're really excited about the Bessemer union workers. And we also want to talk about the PRO Act.
Yeah, sure. I want to say really quick before we talk about that you guys are, and I'm talking to the workers here, you guys are an inspiration to New York City and to the labor movement as a whole. This labor movement has slept way too long. People are out on the streets for everything. But people are on the streets for everything. And that's right, they should be on the streets. There's a lot of oppression, there's a lot of problems in this country, there's a lot of contradictions among the people. But in the end of the day, the main contradiction is between our owners and the wage slaves. And we're wage slaves because we get paid a wage and we don't have control yet. They control our lives. Amazon workers making 15, maybe 19 an hour at best. They're making nothing in comparison to Jeff Bezos, who's every second making billions. He's making billions a year, he's making millions days, he's making thousands in seconds. So that's where we're at right now. And I wanted to say, we as a union movement need to mobilize nationally. The Amazon workers, they're fighting. We need to all fight. Everybody here, if you're not in a union, you find a union. If you don't find a union you want, you create a union. You have the legal right. You have the legal right. In this country, union worker speech is very criminalized, it's very repressed. However, you still have legal rights. And one of those rights is to have concerted activity on a job site. One person, but it can't do much. But if two people start talking union, if two people start talking about organized labor, they have the right to organize. They have the right to go to the NLRB and fight their case out if you're a wage worker. That's the truth. Now, I wanted to talk really quick about the PRO Act, because in reality, even though we have Democrats in office in the presidency and the Senate, reality is just when you saw the last appropriations bill for the stimulus, they let us down. They let us down with the $15 an hour, right? We've been talking about $15 an hour for years, and we had an opportunity. It passed Congress. It went to the Senate, and that's where it died. Now we have PRO Act, which is the Protecting Rights of Organizers Act. Now, that's in the Senate right now. It enfranchises unions to do much more than they can right now. Now, if you wonder why RWDSU don't show up to a Whole Foods, the reason they can't show up to a Whole Foods is because they can't secondary boycott. Monopoly capital has control over everything. Brother over here said something very impressive that I understood immediately. That's absolutely correct. They want to control the world. That's monopoly capitalism for you. They control everything. But if you boycott a different store they own, well, you can't do that. That's illegal. That's going to give you a fine. Your union rep might go to jail for doing that. Now, we got to fight against that. We got to fight against that with the PRO Act, the Protecting Rights for Organizers Act. Now, we got to do that, and we're going to do that by going to senators' offices. We got to call senators. We got to make it hell for them. We got to make it hell for union leaders who don't do it, who don't fight. We're the ones that are going to make history. And now the time, this year, of any year, we've been called essential workers. There's a reason. This world stops without us. They may own it, but without us, it stops. And
once you realize that you are essential, you will crush them. You will crush them, and you organize like you are somebody. Don't take the disrespect anymore. Fight for PROACT. May 1st is coming up, International Workers' Day. You know, that's for every worker around the world. And that's the day you need to make yourself known as labor, as organized labor. You may not have a union yet, but you will have a union. You better fight for one. So May 1st, please look out for what's going to be happening in the streets, because nationally, we're going to see some work. We're going to see some work this year for organized labor. This is the year you stop slumbering. You stop mistaking yourself for anything else besides a worker, besides having having power over you based upon a wage. All right? You're going to take power. You have to seize production. You got to take it for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Good stuff.
Wow, amazing. I tell you what, we was out there last May 1st, and we definitely going to do something again nationwide. Absolutely, brother. Appreciate it.
We're there for you.
Absolutely. My next speaker is Vincent Verdier. Oh yeah. December 12 movement.
Greetings and solidarity to the TCEW. My name is Vincent Verdry. I'm here with my comrade Roger Wareham. We represent the December 12th movement, and we say where there's people, there is power. Where there's people, there is power. Again, we want to congratulate the TCEW for, as they say, being the spark that can perhaps light the prairie fire that will engulf the nation and lead to the reorganization and the reigniting of the labor movement here in the United States. They've led to the movement down in Bessemer, Alabama, where, as it was stated, black women mainly have taken the lead to say that no more will we be exploited, no more will we be dehumanized, no more will we be denied our human rights to organize, the human right to be in a union. So we say, we've got your back. Again, to Chris Smalls and all the TCEWs, we say we have your back. We also say that, again, the union is a human right. The right to not to be exploited, to not to have your labor stolen, to be accumulated by the likes of Jeff Bezos and all his corporate entities. As they say, we are the ones who make Amazon work. We're the ones who pick the packages. We're the ones who deliver the goods. They can't do it without us. So we say when the people stand up, we can win. So again, we congratulate Chris and the team for starting the fire that is going across the nation, where again, people in Bessemer, Alabama have taken up the fight to say we're going to stand for our human rights, the right to organize, the right to better our material conditions, the right to say that enough is enough. We will no longer be exploited. We will no longer be a wage slave. We're not just fortunate or glad to have a job, because as they said, during slavery, everyone had a job. So what we are fighting for is humane working conditions, not to be able to go to the bathroom without worrying, are you going to be fired if you don't get back on time? So what if you, as they said, if you miss a call from them and say, you didn't return our call, so you're fired because you didn't come in on time when we told you to. This is inhumane. We are no longer going to let them give the quotas, which are inhumane to me, which are causing serious stress and damages to people, where they're no longer given the PPEs they need to protect themselves. We say again, the corporate greed is what drives this. The corporate greed that says we will maximize profit off the exploitation of workers. We say no more. We stand in solidarity with all workers who say that we will not allow this to continue in our name. We will stand up and fight for our union to be recognized. As we say, unions are a human right. But rights such as union rights have to be fought for, because each and every day, Jeff Bezos and his corporate lawyers at Morgan & Lewis are doing things to undermine the efforts of the unions. As been stated before, they're trying to discourage workers from even mentioning unions. They're trying to discourage workers from coming together and coalescing and taking the power that each and every one of them have to come together and say, we can make the change that is necessary. We are the driving force of Amazon, and when we stand together, we can make a change. We have the rights as human beings to fight to change our material conditions, but we're going to make sure that these rights are recognized. It's not enough to have it written down on paper. You have to make it a reality, and you have to stand and fight for that. You have to stand and fight for your rights, just as brothers and sisters have done throughout the centuries. The struggle will always be against monopoly capitalism. They don't build a system and have it maintained for all the time that they have by saying we're going to acquiesce to some demand. We have to demand it. We have to be in the streets, just as the TCEW was last year, and it continue to be. They have to go throughout all the countries, all the places where Amazon is, and tell the workers, you've got to stand and fight. You have to unite. You have to stand and fight for union rights. You have to stand and fight for union rights, just as you have to stand and fight for human rights, because they're not going to be given to you. You have to demand it, and you have to take it. Just as we are, the December 12th movement, calling for an executive order for the right for black people to have universal health care coverage, just as the rights that each and every one of us need. It's not enough just to have a job if you're going to be dead once you get home. We say we've got to stand and fight. Again, we're calling for an executive order from Biden and Kamala Harris for universal health care coverage, $50 billion in it, just as the rights of Amazon workers. They're standing up, and we say each and every one of us, all workers have to stand and fight for your union rights, just as you have to fight and stand for your human rights, because no one is going to give us anything. The power is in the people. So we say, where there's people, there's power. Where there are people, there's power. Stand and fight. Stand and fight. For union rights. For union rights. Stand and fight. Stand and fight. For union rights. For union rights. Bessemer, Alabama. Bessemer, Alabama. We got your back. We got your back. JFK Center. JFK Center. We got your back. We got your back. Union rights. Union rights. Our human rights. Our human rights. So stand and fight. Stand and fight. For your human rights. For your human rights. Again, brothers and sisters, we want to say to all you who have come out here that this is where you need to be. This is what needs to be brought to all sectors of the community. Everyone has to say, what you can do, what can I do to help the fight for unionization at Amazon, to help unionizations at the TWU. All where we are, we have to fight for each and everything that we have, because as they say with this quote-unquote disaster capitalism, the rich are getting richer, and they're getting richer off the backs and the sweat and the blood of our people, the workers who make them their money. When we say workers have to stand and fight, that is what we mean. We've got to stand and fight against the oppressors who do this each and every day and don't give a damn about any of us. They say we're just cogs in the machine that turns where they can continue to make the ungodly profits that they enjoy each and every day, again, off our backs, off our sweat, off our blood. We thank you again for being out here. Again, thank you very much. My name is Vincent from the December 12th movement. Solidarity. Thank you.
Solidarity. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. Larry Rose! Comrade, come join me by my side, comrade. Can you uplift our spirits and take us home, brother? And I'll wrap it up right after you, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you all, comrades. And I want to I want to thank the Congress of Essential Workers for this event. Some of us have been to a few rallies in solidarity with these brave workers, predominantly black and women workers in Alabama fighting for a union. And they've been great. But I tell you, this is the first rally I've been at where I've actually heard some Amazon workers. And you know what? You can be a politician, you may have a lot of good things to say. I don't trust politicians myself, but okay, that's another argument. But there's nothing like hearing the truth from the workers. And I really want to thank, I think on behalf of everybody, for y'all for doing that here at this JFK facility. This morning on the internet, I saw a banner, I think it was hung over a gate in Frankfurt, Germany, at an Amazon facility there. And it said, protect Amazon workers from Frankfurt to Alabama. I don't know, but I want to guess that the workers in Germany don't think a lot about Alabama. But they're thinking about it now. That's right. I want to guess that the workers in Germany don't think about black workers a lot. But they're thinking about it now. They may have seen black workers because the U.S. has a lot of GIs stationed in Germany, so they probably met some black people. But this is the first time that they looked at black workers in a different kind of way, or thought about Alabama in a different kind of way. And this is the impact that this struggle of predominantly black workers in Alabama, Amazon workers, is having on the world. It's not just a million, when you add Whole Foods workers that they have here in this country. It's workers, no matter what company they work for. Gig workers, Uber drivers, whoever you are, no matter what they call you, a contractor, an associate. I don't know, comrades, but I think that they made up this word associate to trick people into not thinking that they're workers. It's kind of an anti-union thing. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I think. Call us what we are. We are workers. And if the workers of the world unite, that's when capitalism will really be in a lot of trouble. I want to wrap up here by talking about the Workers' Assembly Against Racism. Wave those placards. Wave those placards.
Come on. Oh, yeah.
One of the things that the Workers' Assembly Against Racism has done that I'm very proud of is that we've been among many other organizations around the country that decided a few months ago that we would organize solidarity rallies around the country. We picked a couple of dates. February 20th, we had about 54, 55 rallies every part of the country. In the South, in the West Coast, the East Coast, New York. Some of you have been there. Yep. We were working with our comrades in the December 12th movement. These comrades, on February 20th, they were out in East New York, in Brooklyn, at an Amazon facility. And then they organized a rally in Harlem, 125th Street, Malcolm X Boulevard, in front of the Whole Foods store. Yep. And this is important. This is important because we want these brave Amazon workers over here in Staten Island to know, when y'all are ready to make public your next union drive, and boy, would that be something. Wow. We will not only have your back, those of us in New York, in this whole area, Jersey too, we will be marching in the streets. We will hit all of Bezos' multi-million-dollar apartments in New York. They got Whole Foods stores all over New York. We'll be in front of all of them. We will be raising hell
and shutting shit down in support of your fight for your right to a union. That's right. And you see this place, I don't know where the hell I am, to tell you the truth. All I know is that we had to take several types of transportation to get here. They always put, the only other places that they put way out here like this is prisons. Prisons. So that their family cannot get there, But we don't care. We will march on this place. When you're ready, you workers over here, to make public your fight for a union, hope you find the right union that fits. Somebody talked about that. We agree with that. We will march on this place. We'll bring unemployed people here. We'll bring people, the only association they have with Amazon is they have to order something online. We'll bring everybody here, and you'll know this. You may be on the front line inside, whatever you want to call it over here, fighting Jeff Bezos. But you're going to have a lot of people on the outside who are with you. Workers of the world unite, organize Amazon, organize all the workers. We're going to win, and one day, in the not too distant future, we're going to change this whole world. And the world is going to be about taking care of people and not billionaires like Jeff Bezos. Thank you.
Wow. Larry Holmes, y'all. That was our last speaker. But I have a few things to say, y'all don't mind. I'd like to do it in front of this banner. I'm going to have my comrades open this up. This banner has been around the country, y'all. It's been seen all over the world. It's been seen in The Guardian. And as we close out, as we close this show out, this solidarity rally for the workers of Bessemer in Alabama, one thing for sure, somebody needs to be held accountable. For Poussin's death, for the death of my former co-workers in that building, for all the workers who lost their lives, working for this company, slaving away for this company last year throughout the coronavirus, throughout the pandemic. This man right here wants to step down as CEO. But guess what? I say all together, billionaires, they gotta go. So when I say billionaires, they gotta go, y'all say taxpayers. Billionaires, they gotta go. Tax Jeff Bezos. Billionaires, they gotta go. Tax Jeff Bezos. Repeat after me first. Billionaires, they gotta go. Billionaires, they gotta go. Tax Jeff Bezos. 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 Billionaires, they gotta go. Billionaires, they gotta go. Billionaires, they gotta go. Billionaires, they gotta go. Tax Jeff Bezos. Tax Jeff Bezos. Tax Jeff Bezos. Tax Jeff Bezos. Hey, Gabby, cover your ears real quick. I'm just playing. Put your middle fingers up. Billionaires, they gotta go. Fuck Jeff Bezos. 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 Tax Jeff Bezos. Tax Jeff Bezos. Tax Jeff Bezos. Tax Jeff Bezos. I just had to do that real quick. Down to the people, y'all. Down to the people. And before we go, I want y'all to take one more look at this building and that building here as well. Look at those windows. A lot of these workers, including myself for almost 5 years, when you ask people what it's like to be an Amazon worker, you know what I told them, and Larry kind of referred to as well. I used to take that 40 bus, that South Ferry, then another subway uptown to the Port Authority, then a bus over to New Jersey. There's no direct route from Jersey over here. Took me 3.5 hours each way.
after working 12 hours a day, and I used to be on a night shift, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, 12 hours, from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. Then take 3.5-hour journey just to take a power nap. A power nap and come right back. That's what I did for 8 months when this building opened. And when you, as a worker, what it's like to work in there, look at those windows. It's solitary confinement. You're at your station, you're doing the same repetitive job, you gotta rush to take a break, you gotta rush to get back, and you're doing that same thing day in and day out. The only family you got is your people in there. Even when you come home at night, see your wife, kids, grandmother, grandparent, grandfather, or anybody else in your household, you don't even communicate with them. You know how much time this company stole away from me and my kids, and my ex-wife, and my family I lost? I lost so much more than people even can imagine from this company. They destroyed my life. They changed my life. My life would never be the same. Never be the same. And if I wasn't built for this, if I wasn't prepared for this, I would be nothing right now. I would just be another story, another worker that was fired. But my comrades, the supporters, my family, my children, that's what gives me the strength to continue doing what I'm doing. There's nothing else. And I can tell you that now. I'm still on unemployment. I still have no health insurance. I still can't go to sleep at night. They can ask them. They with me all the time. I don't sleep. They can catch me sleeping sometimes, maybe a quick little nap or whatever, but I have sleepless nights, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all do too. Amen to that. We're in a fucked up time in this country. This shit that we're seeing now is not normal. None of this shit. So what was y'all doing in 2020 when it gave us 2020 vision on what the fuck is going on? Ask yourselves that. What did you do? What did you do when COVID-19 came into play? Did you sit back and do nothing? Was you in the streets fighting? For any cause, whether it's social injustice, whether it's environmental, whether it's labor, whether it's political, did you get in the streets and do something? Or did you sit back and do nothing? And that's just for humanity, for our children to grow up in a better society than what we're living in. This is what it's about. It's not about me. It's not about the workers now. It's about our future generation. We need unions. We need workers' rights. We need protections. We need a system that works for us. This system now is not our system.
Works for them.
It's not. It's not. And I just want to say I'm so happy that I'm even alive a year later to tell this story, continue telling this story. Because some people didn't make it. And those are the ones that we have to continue to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes. And those are the ones that we're fighting for.
Yes.
And the union representation is everything that we need right now. And I'm so happy that Bessemer broke a plateau. They broke down barriers that we never thought we could even talk about in less than a year. And we're going to continue those efforts here in New York, because New York is a New York state. This is a union town.
#1 union state.
We need to implement these unions right back to where they were as they were in the 1930s.
40s, 50s, and 60s.
We've seen the economic collapse then. We've seen it collapse last year. And now it's time for the uprising. And the uprising starts with the people. So all power to the people.
All to the people!
And if we don't get it,
shut it down!
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 If we
do, eat. Shut it down. One more time. We do, eat. Shut it down.
Talented people, I love y'all.
Go to the people.
And for everybody here, grab a mask and grab a t-shirt on your way out. I don't want to bring that t-shirt out because
You got a few minutes?
Yeah, because I know the train leaves at 3:15. Well, it says that we'll leave from Penn, so it says we'll leave at 6. I will get there, so it's not too far.
Okay. Hey, folks, they're just wrapping up over there, but I wanted to bring some attention. Is the wind okay, John? Yeah. Okay. I wanted to finally speak in person to an amazing woman and her niece. This is Christina and Gabriel. And they came up from Virginia today so that the country and the world would know about what I think is really a disgusting injustice that unfortunately has not gotten any attention really nationally. Christina, you used to work at Amazon with your sister, Pashan Brown, and Pashan was 38 and in January suddenly came home, told her sister her head hurt, and then the next day she passed away in her sleep. No major health problems. But the only thing we do know is that for months she was actually at Amazon in Virginia administering COVID tests, the nasal swabs, up her coworkers' noses. Something that she had spoken with you about. Other workers said that they saw her doing the testing. Amazon would not speak with me on the record. They would not. They tried to sweep this under the rug. They actually, from what I know, intimidated workers there in that warehouse from even talking about your sister's death. So I want to start with, you know, your sister was doing this testing, and you and her, because you had worked at Amazon with her, you and her had rarely fought, but you had kind of gotten into it because you were worried about her bringing something home to your mother during COVID.
Yes, we got into it about 2 times about it. And the last time we got into it was December. And I told her, when I first brought it up to her and told her, is when she did the anonymous emails, and then she did the text message, and then she did the emails under her information.
Just so you guys know, she emailed her supervisors once as herself, identifying herself, asking, are you going to close the warehouse? This was at the beginning of the pandemic about a year ago. They were not cleaning properly in this Virginia warehouse, just like they weren't cleaning properly here. They weren't even cleaning the trays that you work on, that you move products. And then she emailed anonymously, even to the corporate headquarters in Seattle, basically saying that they're just totally disregarding us and our lives during this pandemic.
So yeah, the first was like May was when she May was when she started sending the emails, and she sent them from May up until I believe October, November. And the last time we got into it, we got in an argument about it was December, after Christmas, and then my sister passed in January. I just want to know. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, you know, we got to state the facts, and the facts is that she was working at Amazon Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. doing COVID testing. And she was not a doctor, nurse, a medical assistant, a medical profession, a CNA. She wasn't a RN. She wasn't anything. She came into Amazon to be a sorter. She had no business COVID testing. He had no business having employees COVID test. My sister was one of the first couple of employees who were doing COVID testing. She was trained by another employee to do COVID testing, and that employee was trained by another employee to do COVID testing. No one had ever came in, no doctor had ever came in to train, no nurse had ever came in to train. Why is this happening?
And also, when you see actual doctors or nurses do those swabs, they're head to toe covered. N95, goggles, gowns, Did your sister have any of that?
She didn't have any of that, and I asked her because we would be on FaceTime, and when she would get off when she would have to test somebody, she would get off the phone because you really can't be on your phone anyway in a warehouse. But she had the Amazon check mask on, and then she had a headband that she would wear, so she had the earpiece. And I asked her, I said, "You don't even know how far to put that up somebody's nose. Why are you doing that? What if you hurt somebody? Who's going to be responsible for that?" And she said, "Look, they showed me what to do." And I told her I wouldn't. You can't do that. You could hurt somebody. That thing goes too far up somebody's nose. I don't understand how there was no doctors to be trained, and I don't understand it. It's still now. And why didn't you have doctors? Why didn't you have people come in and be trained? Why didn't you have doctors come in and nurses come in? Why didn't you have them do it? Why did you have regular employees testing employees? And now this has happened, and it's 2 months of counseling that expires in less than 24 hours, and go on with your life.
And what I want to also get across is it's not like they paid her sister extra money to do this. They didn't get any hazard pay. The CDC, by the way, they say that the professionals who are testing should be doing it outside in an open space. I saw the video of where they were doing this testing, where your sister was doing this testing. It was a tiny room. There were basically no barriers. And even if you're wearing a mask, I got coronavirus a year ago, I was wearing a mask. If you are around people that potentially have it all day, and there's no barriers, you can get coronavirus, which brings me to my next question. To be fair to Amazon, nobody knows if she had coronavirus because Christina, like pretty much everyone in America, can't afford $9,000 for an autopsy. So you asked Amazon, could they help to do an autopsy to find out, did your sister have coronavirus? Was it something else? And what did they tell you?
I reached out to them. I waited 2 weeks because I think when somebody dies, you have to hurry up. Like, you just don't have, we're not millionaires. We're not thousands. We didn't have money. They told me that they would get back in touch with me. They would see what they can do. And they didn't get in touch with me until 3 weeks after I buried her. I'm sorry. They called to ask again why she wasn't at work. And then they said at that time they would see about putting up, trying to set up or put up the GoFundMe. But they didn't offer anything. They didn't offer any money. They didn't offer any autopsy. I asked them for autopsy. They didn't offer anything. And I would think that if somebody at the end of the day, I'm not saying my sister died of COVID because at the end of the day, I don't know when I reached out to ask, but I would think that if somebody was COVID testing in your house, illegally COVID testing, was not a medical profession, did not have any grounds or rights to be COVID tested, I would think that you would want to know what happened. I would think that you would want to know. I would think that you would want to clear your name. I would think you would be like, oh man, I had these people in here, I had this girl in here testing, and I know she wasn't supposed to be testing. I know she wasn't a medical profession. I know she wasn't properly trained. I know we didn't even provide her with the proper gear to be illegally testing. Not to mention that we would run out of hand sanitizer all the time. No paper towels, no alcohol at the warehouse. So I know I didn't supply her with the proper things to even put her in a position to be doing this. Let me at least see what I can do. Let me at least pay for a funeral. Let me at least see if autopsy. Let me at least get this off of me so I know, since I'm Jeff Bezos, they want to blame me for everything. No, I didn't get anything. I got 2 months. I got a month after my sister died, 2 months of counseling, which expires in the next 24 hours, and that's it. And I barely got a sorry.
What I think is also kind of amazing and disgusting about this, so when this happened, I mean, as far as I know, I was really one of the few people to even bother covering it. And when I interviewed Christina, when I put out a tweet that did okay and got around, they started telling workers, the supervisors started telling the workers, this is not to be talked about here. This is a personal matter. Do not discuss it here. Meaning, do not say anything about this at work, because
matter in that they're reaching out to in contact to reach out to help us. So when is the help coming? Is the help coming for her college education? Is the help coming to secure medical needs? Is the help coming to secure her lifetime of counseling because she's 12 years old without a mother? When is the help coming? Because they said they were in continuous help, so we haven't got no help. So when is the help coming? Because the help didn't come for no funeral. It didn't come for no bills. It didn't come to support her. It's not coming to take care of her, to clothe her, feed her. When is the help coming? Is it still on the way? Or is...
And I just want to be clear so people really get it, because Amazon, frankly, is trying to sweep it under the rug. Amazon, which is worth $1.5 trillion, let me repeat that, not billion, $1.5 trillion, had a 38-year-old, let's say it, black woman, because most of Amazon's workers are black and brown, and poor, working poor. They had a 38-year-old black woman playing doctor and nurse, testing coworkers for no extra pay, and she suddenly at 38 died. I don't want to get personal, did your sister have any major health problems that would make sense that she could just suddenly die like that?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I also want to, I don't want to get you uncomfortable, but when she called Amazon in Seattle, again, for some reason, you're now her guardian. They said, we have to talk to a grieving 12-year-old.
Yeah, and I couldn't understand because I said that you have to go through me. Why do you have to talk to her? My name was on the paper too, but they needed, I don't know if my stuff wasn't good enough. They needed to talk to her. She doesn't even, she knows the year she's born, but she doesn't know, like, her, what year. I mean, she doesn't know those things. She's only 12. She doesn't know what a social security number is. She barely can even remember what her mother's phone number is. How does she know what a social security number or a D? They asked her for the DOD, the date of death, and I lost it. I said stop. We're not going to do this.
From a journalistic point of view, just so you know, when I reached out to Amazon, these are very simple questions. If her sister wasn't testing anyone, you would think they would say she was not testing anyone. Here's the proof. This is what she was doing. She was not doing that. They tried to get me to talk to them off the record. Most corporate outlets will do that because most corporate outlets are just corporate stenographers. But I said, no, I'm not going to talk to you off the record. Yes or no? Was she testing, or was she or anybody else testing their coworkers? It's pretty simple, yes or no. And they would not speak with me on the record. And the reason is they smartly were relying on that the national media was not going to pick this up. And the national media has not picked this up. But to be clear, there's a lot of coverage right now of Amazon and the unionization fight and working conditions. Well, I can't think of worse working conditions during a pandemic, workers being asked to essentially put their lives even more on the line. They were talking about that there's no social distancing here. Well, try putting a nasal swab up your coworker's nose all day with no barriers, no N95, no surgical, no nothing, for no extra pay. I can't really think of worse conditions than that.
I don't know why the media has not covered this. I know it's good to unionize, and I'm all for the union. They need to be union. It definitely does. But there is a life that's lost here. Those people in Alabama, God willing, they will get unionized, and that's fine. I don't know if there's been any deaths in Alabama, but since I've been doing my research, my sister is the first person who is COVID testing and who has passed away. I need everybody to know that. I want everybody to know that my sister is the first COVID tester to pass away. She had no business doing that. She did not work at the hospital. She did not go to medical school. She did not say, okay, I'm gonna go to be a doctor and this is something that I'm just gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to come in here and do this. She did not. She signed up to be a night sorter at Amazon. She had no business COVID testing. So I'm all for the union and everything, but we're here, we can talk about it. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go home, they're gonna vote. I'm going home without my sister. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow without my sister. She's gonna wake up without her mother. My sister is gone. She is gone. Somebody could have hired doctors to come in there and test and still can do it. And they still don't have doctors in there testing, from what I know. Maybe you know more than me, but from what I know. So I want everybody to know, and I want the media, I want everybody to keep speaking my sister's name, keep talking about it, because my sister is the first person who was a COVID tester to die. She did not work at the hospital. It's not like she was God forbid, God bless all the nurses and the doctors. They went to school to be nurses and doctors. That's what they wanted to do. That was their career. That was their profession. You understand that? My sister did not go to school to be a nurse or doctor. She is the first person that worked at Amazon COVID testing to die. And I want everybody to talk about it. Everybody should be talking about it. All the news, all the medias, all the papers should be talking about it. Everybody should be talking about it. Because she did not sign up to do that. She had no business in that COVID testing. She had no business.
And I also want to point out that, you know, they were talking about it here. There's just a culture of paralysis where people are afraid to speak up because they're going to lose their job. But workers here, I don't want to blow up anybody's spot, but workers have approached you. And workers did tell you, yeah, she was doing this, but they're deathly afraid to speak up because Amazon.
I mean, yeah, they're scared. It's video, it's text messaging. They sent it to me. I have it, and not to mention that's my sister. I talked to her 20 times a day. I have it. I know what she was doing. I seen what she was doing. They're scared. But the truth is the truth, and the facts are the facts. The truth is the truth, and the facts are the facts, because guess what? It's God forbid it be another Pushan Brown. You understand that? She had no business doing it, and she was doing it, and everybody knows that she was doing it.
And I just want to ask you personally, because you told me this, which I was horrified by. But when you were working there, because you worked with your sister for a while, during the winter, you were driving for them?
Yes.
So tell me what happened, because
My car slid on black ice, and I was doing I think I was doing Prime. I was doing a Prime. I had a Prime shift, and my car slid on black ice. And I had 3 more packages. I remember like it was yesterday. I was in the Northern Virginia. I was in like Lee's, not Lee's, what's that called? Like near Herndon Ruston area. And my car slid on black ice, but it was a car in front of me that they had already gotten an accident. So instead of me to crash into the back, I slid off the road. When I slid off the road, I missed the guardrail this much. My sister was in Baltimore. She was doing a run in Baltimore, which actually, when I called her to tell her what happened, she had just told me that she had slipped and fell. You remember when your mom was out there doing the Fresh in Baltimore? Yeah, she slipped and fell down the stairs. She had just called to tell me she had slipped and fell. And so what happened was I had called in to them to let them know that there was an accident, and I had almost gotten an accident, but my car was off the road, and I needed to call AAA or see if they could help. Or see just the procedure, because that was the first time it happened. What's going to happen? Are y'all going to send somebody for me, or how does it work to get the car out? And they asked me, was the car okay? And they asked me how many more routes did I have to do, what area was I in, and how many more routes did I have to do. And I told them, they looked me up because I'm on GPS, and they saw that I was about 3 miles within the next route. They asked me, could I go ahead and do the other, and could I go ahead and do the packages, the 3 deliveries? Because when you're driving, they have you on GPS so they can see where you are and how far you are.
So let me get this straight. You're driving for Amazon, dropping off those Prime deliveries, so enjoy your 4-hour package. You hit black ice, you drive off the road. They don't ask, are you okay? They ask, is the car okay? And then, can you finish your packages?
Well, they asked, I was okay after the supervisor called me back the 3rd time to ask me why couldn't I deliver the packages, and I told them that I was scared. I said, I'm scared. It wasn't snow, it was ice. And I told them, I said, it's not worth it. I got kids. And that's one of my exact words. And they said, well, can you at least deliver them? We'll map it out, re-GPS me, re-navigate me so that I can, take a better route. They could do all of that. And I told them no. And they said, well, you want to go all the way back to the warehouse to drop? I said, I surely do, and I surely will. And I signed off and logged off, and that was it. And I told her we were done with that. We were done.
So I think it's important because, the media who's been slobbering all over Amazon, it's fucking disgusting. Excuse my French.
You know what I'll say to the media, Jordan, this is what I'll say. We're out here now. When they were calling me and they were interviewing me, asking me, and saying, oh, well, they said that they weren't doing that. They were giving this and that. They were doing it. And like I told them, I ain't got no reason to lie. I'm going to state the facts to you. I work there. I'm going to state the facts to you. We're going to talk about facts. You go there. If you think I'm lying, if you think anybody out here is lying, go undercover and get a job at Amazon and see what happens. What somebody got to lie to you for? I done lost everything. My sister's already gone. What I got to lie to you for? I seen her. I was on the phone with her. People sent me the stuff.
I think it's important because the media is pointing out how efficient Amazon is. Oh, the efficiency, the efficiency.
They like to go undercover and do stuff like that. They can go undercover and go online and fill out an application and go work at Amazon and see what's going on. Those packages are blood packages, and that's what it is. Like I said, if you work for Amazon, you're going to pay for it. Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, you're going to pay for it. And just at the end of the day, I lost my sister. And like I said, I want some answers. I want to know why you have people in there COVID testing illegally. Because the CDC says that you should not be COVID testing if you're not. You gonna let me put a swab up your nose right now? Okay, exactly. So why?
I like you, but no.
Thank you. So my thing is this: is that it's not right, and I don't know why they're not talking about it. They want to talk about everything else. Let's talk about this. And I just want Jeff to know, my sister, you did my sister wrong. She loved working for your company. When she was so excited when she started working for your company, even after the car accident, even after these things. She worked for you to the day she died. She had no business doing that. You had no business putting her in a position. And then 2 months of counseling?
And I think it's also still kind of just absolutely terrible. For 3 months, this is January, Amazon has not been pressured, other than me. They have not been forced to answer any questions about this. You have a young woman, a worker, a mother that suddenly drops dead. Amazon has not had to answer for any of it, right? They have not, the media, they basically told the CNBC reporter, oh no, she wasn't testing. And the CNBC reporter passed that off as fact and moved on. Well, I don't know. I don't really have reason to think she's lying. I don't think other workers that have spoken to her are lying. Other workers that I've spoken to are lying. And I've seen on video this tiny little area that they had Pashan and others testing coworkers. So I think personally, if you have a simple answer and you have evidence that this is all some type of miscommunication, what we think is happening did not happen, then you'd probably come out pretty quickly and say that. But they don't. And the thing is, Amazon spends, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars on PR. And they hire PR people to spin the media, to make the media compliant, to make the media push out this nonsense that they're so efficient and oh, how wonderful they are that they pay their workers $15 minimum wage. Well, for that $15 minimum wage, they're killing people, either acutely like this or over time. But the workers at Amazon are saying 1 hour at Amazon feels like 10 hours anywhere else. I'm sure, and you said it so beautifully, why was she doing this? Because of her daughter.
Everybody, yeah, I seen in the news and I seen in the comments, some people, they say, well, I wouldn't have did it, you can't say what you would have did because you're not in nobody's shoes. Until your back is up against that wall and your back is through that wall and you got people depending on you, you can't say what you would have did. You can't say nothing what you would have did. But why you asking what my sister, who is no longer here, what she did, you should be asking Jeff, why is this man the most richest man in the world? And this is the thing, I don't want people to get this misconstrued at all. His money is his money. But at the end of the day, you had somebody in your house, in your business, in your place of establishment doing something illegal they had no business doing. You don't think you're going to have to answer for that? You don't think that you're going to have to answer for that? If some painters come to your house and they slip and fall in your house, you don't think you're going to have to answer for that? No, we're going to follow the rules. We're going to follow the rules. Because if somebody was working at Amazon and they were still in it there, they're going to prosecute them to the fullest to the law. Yes or no? So we're going to follow the rules here. You had my sister working in your facility, illegally COVID testing, and she is no longer here. And we're going to go on with our lives, and you don't think you're going to have to answer nothing? You don't think you're going to have to show face to me? Absolutely not. Show face to the law. That's against the law. You cannot, you broke the law. And you're going to have to answer for that. And that's just what it is. You're going to have to answer for that. Somebody's going to have to call me. Somebody's going to have to talk to me. We're going to have to talk about it. I want to talk. I want to talk.
I'm sorry, do you mind picking that up? I want to show people who your sister was. So this was Pashan, a beautiful young woman. And she was born in 1982, so would have been 40 next year. And I just want to ask, I know it's not easy to talk about, but could you just share with people, just tell me a little bit about who she was. What kind of woman was this? What kind of mother was this?
I'm about to get emotional because when you said she would have been 40 next year, that's true. She would have been. My mom just turned 64 yesterday. And it was so sad and depressing because If Dukes was here, she would have been making her cake. She would have baking her cake. She let her cook. She let her bake. If Pooh was here, we would have had a whole feast for my mom. And my birthday is next month. And my sister, you're right, she would have been 40 next year. It hurts. It's I mean, I can just tell you that she was just the sweetest thing. She never said no. That was her problem. She never said no. She was the sweetest thing. She was the most kindest, caring person. Oh gosh, she was so, I'm not gonna say gullible, but she would just, if you knew her, you had a friend in her. She was a good mom, an outstanding sister. She was in my corner no matter if I could be dead wrong, and she would be right there with me. She was a good daughter. She was my mom's favorite. I don't know, that hit me. That she would have been 40 next year.
Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you.
It's okay. It's okay. Because yesterday was hard because my mom turned 64, and I'm thankful that she did, because I don't know, it's a lot for her, because when my sister passed, my mom wasn't doing well. She didn't want to be here. So, you know, we kind of out. I don't even know if out of that zone, but I told you personally, because you would call me every day. For the first month, my mom was, you know, she didn't want to be here.
She wouldn't eat.
No, she would not eat at all. It was around the clock doctors. I had the doctor's cell phone number. They would call me because I didn't know if my mom was going to make it, you know. But Dukes was the sweetest thing, and she could cook anything for you. She could bake anything for you. Anything that you needed, she would try to help you. Anything. It's so crazy because she was at work, and my oil light came on in the car. This was 2 weeks before she died. And I called her, and she was at work. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. And she said she went in early that day. And she said, I already know what you need. And I said, and she said, FaceTime me. So she was at work, I FaceTimed her. And she was like, you see that thing that says, you know, the little drop? She said, that's where you put the oil at. And she said, just bring the car up here, I'll do it. I said, I'm scared to drive it. So she walked me through everything over the phone, how to change the tire, all of that stuff. It's just like everything. She could do anything. She could do anything she could do. Even though she was my little sister, she was like my big sister. And I miss her so much. Every minute that goes by, I think of her. Every minute that goes by, I miss her so much. And I would give anything to see her again.
I also just want to make it abundantly clear so people know, because since the media has been so focused on how wonderful Amazon is and how they're being innocently targeted, a 38-year-old woman dropped dead. We don't know why. They wouldn't help with an autopsy. They have not contributed, as far as I know, a dime, other than 2 months of counseling. I mean, I know people who need a lot more counseling for living relatives, much less losing somebody. 2 months of counseling wouldn't help them with an autopsy, and I know for a fact was basically discouraging people in the warehouse from even talking about this. So, you know, we had an individual over here say that Amazon literally sent its workers out on break when news crews came in. That's called concealing information. They sent workers out. They sent workers out on a break when bringing in news crews to try and make it seem like they were social distancing. And here you have Amazon telling workers in this warehouse where you worked and your sister worked not to talk about it. That's called sweeping something under the rug. Frankly, that's called covering something up. And they wouldn't need to cover it up if what she's saying wasn't true. And I just feel so terrible for you, but I also think your sister is very lucky that she had you and you to speak up for her. And I won't stop covering this, because at the very least, shouldn't Amazon, a $1 trillion company, have to answer for why they have regular workers who have no training in this, basically playing doctor and playing nurse? Why is Amazon have workers in tiny little areas? Where this was going on, where she was testing workers, was right next to the break room. There was no barriers, nothing. They don't have to answer for anything. And that's on the media. Shame on the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Bezos Post. Shame on all these outlets that you just, take Amazon's PR people's word for it? That this isn't what was going on? I don't know. 38-year-olds don't generally just pass away for no reason. So I thank you. I know it's tough to talk about this. You guys came up here from Virginia. Gabrielle, I hope you're very lucky to have her. I know times have been tough, but she's really a special woman. Anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to thank everybody for supporting us, for donating. Keep calling my sister's name. Keep sharing it. Keep pushing it. Tell it to anybody. Pass it to anybody, because I need answers and I need to know and I need questions. And at the end of the day, she's continuously growing every single day. And this is a life. This is my sister's life. She's going to live through her. I'm going to live through her. And at the end of the day, they got to be held accountable for this. There is a death. This is a death. This is a person who is no longer here any longer. This is a different fight. I'm for the union. I want the union. It needs to be unionized. We in a whole different fight. We in a whole different fight. This is a whole different situation. This is something that can't be undone, and there's no going back. And I need Jeff. I need me and Jeff. If we can't sit down, then me and his teammates, me and his partners, we need to sit down. We got to sit down. We need to sit down. We got to.
And I just want to say, this is me saying it, she's not begging, but she launched the GoFundMe a couple months ago because, frankly, this is a working woman with children of her own, now is caring for a 12-year-old. Her mother is 64 and paralyzed. This is a very heavy lift for one person to handle. Trust me, she ain't going to the casino. I talk to her a lot. So if you got a couple bucks, Jessica, if you're in the chat, if you could drop in their GoFundMe. I think mostly my viewers, I think, have donated, I think, like 45 grand. And honestly, whatever, it's their decision what they do, but there might be legal costs if this ends up going the legal route. But it's a lot of money to raise your own children, much less, now your niece. So if you could contribute, I know she appreciates it. I'm asking you to do it. If Jessica, if you could put it in the chat. If not, just Google Pashawn Brown GoFundMe, P-O-U-S-H-A-W-N. That's P-O-U-S-H-A-W-N. And drop in whatever you can. I know it means a lot to you guys, and I'll keep on this because, I don't know, maybe I'm in the twilight zone, but I think as journalists, you should kind of find it suspect when workers just drop dead. I'm sorry to say it like that, but when workers just drop dead, and you have multiple sources. They spoke 20 times a day. You think she just is making it up that her sister was putting swabs up people's nose? I've seen the video of where they do this.
Well, if Jeff sits down, I know he won't sit down with me because he's very busy and he doesn't have to, but if somebody from his team or his company can sit down with me, we can share our evidence, and they may not know, but I'll show them, and then we can sit down, and then that way we can just sit down and we can privately sit down and we don't have to, but I want them to talk, I'm ready to talk and we should sit down. I know Jeff's busy and I understand that he's running an empire, but somebody from his team can sit down and they'll see that, the truth is there. I'm not telling a lie, what my sister was doing for the company. And at the end of the day, I think that they should sit down with me. The fact that she worked for the company, your company, for 4 years. She was a damn good employee. She worked for you to the day she died. January 7th, she came home at 7:33. She was dead the next morning, January 8th. She worked for you to the day she died. I think at least you could sit down, or somebody could sit down, and we could just talk like civilized adults about this matter. Because at the end of the day, you know what we got to talk about, and we need to talk.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there are lawyers watching, are you interested or thinking about in taking action?
I'm open to talk to anybody who's willing to talk to me. I would like to talk to Jeff first, but I know he's busy, so any of his team can talk to me. I would like to talk to them first. But if they don't want to talk, if they're too busy, then I'll talk to anybody who's willing to talk to me.
Thank you.
What we got to talk about.
Thank you for talking to me. Thanks for coming up, Gabrielle. I hope you do take care. And yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up soon. But behind me is Amazon's. I mean, what do they call it? A prison, really? The workers here have called it. You want to come in and close this out? So this is Jason, and you spoke earlier here, and you were very forceful, really passionate about shutting this place down if what everybody has talked about continues. Do you see if the union passes in Alabama, do you see it kind of having a domino effect here and elsewhere?
Absolutely, Jordan, because we are in the capital union state. Because as a matter of fact, I worked inside that facility along with Chris, Jay here, among others. And we saw up close and personal how management and among other people treat Amazon workers. And even I witnessed this morning people spying on us. And I have evidence that Amazon is spying on people that manifest their voices. That's totally illegal. Because this right here is public property. This building that's right here next to us, that wasn't there last year. That building was still in construction. But in my case, Jordan, is very different from the rest. Because I started with the company when Amazon brought the Prime Now concept to Whole Foods. That they had a competition with them and Instacart. That they had both concepts inside Whole Foods. So they had to break the contract that they had with Instacart and bring in the Prime Now concept. So they call it back then Project Avocado. And that meant that people like myself working there, receiving deliveries from people that ordered things. We had to go aisle by aisle, select whatever the person wanted, pack them up, put it in a staging area, and wait till the driver comes and pick it up. But that had its flaws. People like myself had to hustle 3 times a week to select the schedule. And then I thought to myself, do I need this or do I need something better? So I decided to transfer here. But something came along that affected me. I was falsely accused of harassing a female employee. And you are the first one to hear this, Jordan, exclusively for Status Coup. In 2018, November 2018, I was falsely accused of harassing a female worker. Me being gay, a gay worker, falsely accused of harassing a female worker. Being suspended 2 weeks without pay, in my house, doing nothing, they decided to bring me back. And then from there, I met Chris. That other person involved in the case got to another shift that I couldn't make not even contact with that person. And then from there, my physical well-being and mental well-being started to go downhill. And I had to take a 6-month leave of absence from Amazon because I started to suffer knee pain, back pain, depression, anxiety, you name it. So, during that time, COVID-19 hit it. So, they offer us unlimited UPT. So I took advantage of it. But it got to a point that I was forced to go back to work. That was May 1st, 2020. Without having Chris in the picture, I had to deal with the person that came along with Chris. He treated me very inferior that when Chris was there. Even on my birthday, that happens to be on Juneteenth, they were supposed to give me a birthday pin. I never received it. And then the week after my birthday, I got sick. I had to take 2 days off because I didn't have my medications to treat my mental health condition that happens to be bipolar, depression, and anxiety. So on June 28th, I had my appointment with my psychiatrist by phone. I told her what was going on. She gave me a doctor's note. Then on July 2nd, I came back. I worked the last day. I went to HR, I met with them. At first they said that they was gonna accept the doctor's note, but then afterwards they told me that they wasn't gonna accept it. Because I was told that I needed to take 7 days, in other words, 1 week with unpaid time. Who's gonna pay my bills? Nobody.
They said you had to take 7 weeks unpaid for
7 days.
7 days unpaid for a mental health issue?
Yes, that's correct, Jordan. And in my case, it's very particular. I live in a single room occupancy in Brooklyn. That means, to give you an example, it's just like a dorm. It's like a college dorm. Now you have to share kitchen and bathroom. Right now, I'm only surviving with unemployment and pending to lose my SNAP benefits. Because HRA in New York City decided to take away my benefits because I'm getting unemployment at the same time since July of last year. So, July 2nd, around 5:15, I was escorted out of the building, like literally thrown out of the building. But that wasn't all. I decided to appeal the decision. So I seek legal advice, and that person suggested to me to record the meeting. So I did that. I recorded the meeting, and then 2 weeks later, I found out that the decision was going to be upheld. So, since that day, Jordan, and I still believe up to this day that Amazon only cares about profits over safety. Just like what happened with Pushan. They didn't care about her safety. They didn't care about providing her with the necessary PPE. They only care about their profits. Just like in my case, I represented to them just a number. And that's why I've been traveling with the team from Beverly Hills to Seattle, to New York City, and to Alabama to give a single message. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Latinx, but if you work with Amazon, you're just a number. And they don't care about you. They only care about the money. But in my case, we're gonna go to legal consequences. And even I submitted a complaint with the EEOC. It's still pending. And I reached out to the person who has the case, no answer up to now. Well, Jeff Bezos stepped down, but still getting billions of taxpayers' money. And then Andrew Cuomo applauded him because he wanted to put HQ2 here in New York. And then on Valentine's Day in 2019, the breakup came, and now he's disappointed. I don't think that's fair.
I'm sorry for what you've gone through. I'm glad we could tell your story. So you want people to know that your story is probably not the only one. There's probably plenty of Amazon workers who have been unfairly fired, unfairly penalized. I've spoken with people who have been penalized for trying to take personal time, a family emergency, a mental health emergency. And basically this company, from everything you're saying, can care less about its workers if your needs threaten their profit.
That's right. And that's why people like you, Jordan, care for us and let us tell our stories. Not because the mainstream media decided not to come today, but they came last year. But why not this year? That's what we talk about. That's why I support the work that you, John, and Jen have been doing for Amazon workers since day one. And because of you guys, Pushan's story wouldn't be unknown. And now mine is going to be known thanks to you.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up. There's still people here. Unbelievable. So if you don't know, because this has been a long live stream, the voting in Alabama started today. We don't really know. The results could come, not today, but the results could come this week. But they are saying that it could drag into next week. Amazon, honestly, could literally contest every single vote. It's like, think like the 2000 election with Bush and Gore, how election lawyers flooded in and each ballot was being contested and legal objections. It could happen. So I would say buckle up. Unless this is an overwhelming vote, yes. I don't expect a result. You know, I saw some questions. I don't expect for certain a result right away. But it is historic. But I also think people need to realize, you know, I think sometimes just because we're human and we get excited when people come together, we might falsely think that this is a shortcut, right? I think people got so excited at Bernie in 2016 and 2020, and if he won, it would change everything. Just like I think a lot of people might be thinking if this place unionizes in Alabama, then it's the start of totally overthrowing the system. But this did not become the United Corporations of America overnight. The rot of this system cannot be fixed by one Amazon warehouse unionizing. In fact, as one of the workers, one of the union members here said, they have suffered with bad working conditions even with a union. So this is much bigger. I mean, yes, start with unionizing this warehouse, of course, but it's much bigger. It's totally much bigger than a yes vote in this warehouse down there. John's been around the country without me too. The rot of this system is much, much deeper than getting one union. I'm not poo-pooing it. It would be an important first step. But really, we got to start looking, and I've been talking about this for weeks, where is the progressive movement in this country? Why is the few progressive leaders we have in Congress, why are they not saying we're going to shut shit down if we don't get what the mass majority of people want? Why didn't they say we are going to block this $1.9 trillion stimulus if you don't have a $15 minimum wage? Why are they not right now saying Biden's talking about a $3 trillion infrastructure package? Of course, the media is slobbering all over that. Infrastructure is great, but infrastructure is temporary. Those are temporary jobs. Why aren't they saying you want your $3 trillion infrastructure? You want to go to the bathroom, President Biden? Well, you're going to have to expand Medicare. You're going to have to do a $15 minimum wage. We will shut this shit down, just like the Tea Party did. I'm not saying become racists, lunatics like the Tea Party, but you can adopt the strategies of the Tea Party and others without adopting, what they stand for. And progressives have the numbers right now. Progressives have the numbers right now to not politely ask, but demand. So it's not just union workers that need to fight, it's the progressives. I'm not calling them sellouts, I'm not calling them frauds, I'm not getting into this high school bullshit. But there's nothing stopping AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Ro Khanna, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Pramila Jayapal, Mark Pocan, Mondaire Jones, Bernie. Absolutely nothing stopping you from saying you think Joe Manchin is going to run the country? No. We're going to run the country. We are not voting for anything more without these basic things. You heard it here. They said $15 minimum wage you can't even live on. You could barely live on that. Much less what they're making in Alabama, $7.25. I went down a couple years ago to Birmingham, Alabama, majority black city in Alabama. It's actually one of the few that are kind of sort of progressive. The city council in Birmingham raised the minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10. And that was a fucking battle just to get it up to $10.10. The all-white legislature in Alabama blocked it. They blocked the majority black city from moving up to $10.10, a slightly less starvation wage. So this is systemic. But we all got to start saying, listen, electoral politics is great, but what's the point of knocking on these doors? What's the point of donating? What's the point of me going out, frankly, and covering these campaigns and covering these candidates if when they get in there, you watch Ilhan Omar and AOC and all these people, even when they do interviews, they can't even bring themselves to forcefully criticize the president. The time for diplomacy is over. I think Christian Smalls or somebody said it. This is not normal, what's going on here. This wage theft and modern day slavery going on in these warehouses, it ain't normal. The president, Biden, barely, sort of endorsed this union. He just said the workers should have a right to decide for themselves. That's like FDR saying, well, I think we should really leave it to the workers for this New Deal. No, leaders have to lead. Why Amazon is allowed to basically kill their workers to get you a package in 3 hours is because our government has been bought off by Amazon. That's what's going on here. Anyway, sorry for that. Let me read some super chats before I go. Thank you. Support us as a Status Coup member if you can. As you see, We are live. I think we got up to 350 live viewers, which frankly recently is one of the better live streams. But we have 109,000 subscribers, and we're only getting a couple hundred viewers at a time because YouTube is basically hiding our live streams and hiding our content. It's called de-ranking our content. So you can help by supporting us as a Status Coup member for as low as $5 a month. It makes a huge, huge difference. Frankly, I don't see CNN out at these things. I don't see MSNBC out at these things. I do not see the Young Turks. I don't see Democracy Now! I don't see any independent outlets. John has been going out there to a lot of these things without me. And we've been covering things even during a pandemic. So it's easy to sit in a studio and pontificate. It's a lot harder to come out, get in the trenches, and do the work. Let me read some super chats before I go. Fly, Comper, Fly, $5. Awesome reporting as usual. Got to make sure you can continue. Thank you, thank you. Seth Peterson, $65. Thank you, Seth Peterson. Always appreciate your in-the-field reporting. Status Coup. This garbage system allows corporations like Amazon to exploit its workers. Keep exposing these scumbags. Seth, if you keep dropping in $65, we'll keep doing it. It's very simple. We need the funding. Adrian Rafat, $20. Yes, Diane Morales for mayor. You know, I gave her my card. I do want to interview her again. I am not a member of the Yang Gang at all. I think Andrew Yang is a little bit full of shit. I think Andrew Yang is kind of flexible. And, you know, UBI is a good thing, but you need the person behind that UBI to stand for some other things. Andrew Yang is not for a $15 minimum wage. Did you know that? Andrew Yang is not necessarily a fan of labor unions either. I think the answer he gave on BDS was kind of piss poor also. And I think from what I've seen, got a lot of charisma, but behind all that, he's not exactly strongly pro-worker in my view. So I definitely want to check out and interview Diane. Peter Iannone, $4.99. Workers of the world unite. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Peter, another $4.99. Union, yes. Stephanie, $4.99. Thanks for being on the ground and reporting. Status Coup. Power to the people. Union strong. I appreciate it, Stephanie. Peter, another $4.99. Workers create all value. Thank you, Peter. Mr. Methuselah, $13 with a thumbs up. Thumbs up is very important. Sorry if I missed any. That's all I got here. All right, folks, thanks for watching. I'm not going live later. I need to eat and pee, but I should be back tomorrow. We do have, as I've been telling you, a pretty important story coming out soon. It was supposed to come out this week. We actually I guess we kind of encouraged it not to come out this week because I think, honestly, nothing's going to matter this week other than this. So I didn't want to publish an important investigative piece and it get drowned out with this. So we'll stay on this Amazon news. And that's about it. Remember, sign up if you can. So important. This pandemic has hurt us just like everybody else. We need to grow. We need to grow. So statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. I'm actually going to shoot a video just for members after this and upload it later. So statuscoup.com/join, $5 a month. Peace, love,